Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Sports Goofs number 93. We're so close to 100. Oh, we can taste it.
Are we millennials now?
Yeah. I guess we're millennials. We're Zoomers, what have you. I know I'm a millennial, which means I'm an old man nowadays. So, well, welcome everybody. And Francisco, joined by my good buddy Charles. Andrew, unfortunately, is not with us today. He's got his eye on the prize. He's working hard to kill it next week. I would assume he's not going to be here next week either for that, because of that. But we have a guest on today. Senor Johnny, welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me.
All right, John. So let's do a little introduction to yourself. Twitter's, social media, websites, podcasts that you're doing, anything to introduce yourself to our audience, whoever they are. There's a bunch of Russians and Indians for some reason. So just so you know, that's our demographic for some reason.
All right. Well, I mean, I just started a podcast very recently. We just hit our third episode this week. Over the weekend, we uploaded it. It's the Cats and Stats podcast. It is a hockey podcast centered around the Florida Panthers, but also touching on other things within the NHL that's going on. The Twitter is Cats and Stats. Just CATSN and yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's me, my friend Joe, and my girlfriend Sarah we all do it together.
Okay, all right. Well, you're in good company here. I am also both fortunately and unfortunately a Florida Panthers fan. I cover the Panthers for, I don't know if you've heard of Litterbox Cats, the SB Nation's Florida Panthers website. So I've covered a few games, press conferences and teleconferences and things like that, so you're in good hands here, and we will be going through a rundown of the NHL later on in the show. So Charles is our hockey noob here, so we will be the Sherpas for him today.
We will take him on a journey through the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the Willy Wonka without the dead kids.
Yeah.
I mean, no promises on that front. We'll see where the night takes us.
Oh, the night will take us, and you're an avid gamer, as we've learned in the pre-show.
Yes, of course, us millennials in our games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So, anyways, I gotta read this. This episode is brought to you by you, our listeners that support us on Pod Hero. If you like this podcast and want to support the work we do, please take just a few minutes to support us on Pod Hero. Not only can you support this podcast, but you can provide ongoing support for all of your favorite podcasts with a single $5.99 per month subscription. And to answer your question, yes, we're using Pod Hero to support our favorite podcast too. And for a limited time, Pod Hero will donate an additional $5 to our show on your behalf when you join. Just make sure you use the link in our show notes. Thanks for your support. I don't know what voice I was doing there. That was kind of like a knockoff SpongeBob there for some reason, but
I want to punch you in the face.
I don't know. I was impressed he kept it going for that long.
That's my challenge. I try and do it for the whole thing without messing up.
You sound like the Mike guy from My Hero, because I'm still continuing that love affair of the rewatch, and that's all I think about.
Yeah.
I just need you to have the little weird mustache and the very long hair, and I can totally be about this.
I can accommodate that for you. I can grow a weird mustache and grow very long hair. So, all right, Freddie, what's up? How you doing? We're fortunate. Naruto.
That is actually Neil, the producer of my podcast. He handles all my technical stuff, and because I am not good with technology and computers sometimes, and he bails me out a lot.
Can we call Neil your hockey Hokage? Because I love alliteration, and every now and then I venture back into my love-hate affair of Naruto. So
all right.
I'm about it.
All right, so
but it's funny that this is your guys' 93rd episode, and we're two Florida Panthers fans, and the franchise started in '93, so it was meant to be.
Yeah.
Did we plan it like this? It feels like
maybe.
we replaced the Lightning fan. We replaced the Lightning fan who was just going to stroke the love of Tampa, now we bring in the Florida fans.
That's
here.
true. We trashed on, and Andrew still has not been able to defend himself, which is kind of trashy on our part that we trashed.
No, some things can't be defended.
You can't defend being a Tampa fan. It's that's just how it is.
All right, hold on, Johnny. Let's get before we start on the NHL thing. I want to look, Andrew. We love you, Andrew. We really do.
We love you. Best of luck.
We need you to come here to be our moral compass. But he jumped on the Tampa the Buccaneers bandwagon. He's been a Lightning fan for a while now. But the Buccaneers bandwagon, like immediately after they won the Super Bowl. That's it seems
like the second of the minute that confetti kicked in.
And the funny thing is, we had the conversation like the day before the Super Bowl, and we're like, "Hey, are you gonna be a Bucs fan?" And he was like, "Nah, it seems like I'm a little too late." And then it's like, "Nope, full on Tampa Bay, Champa Bay, got the shirts and the jerseys, got a pirate hat now." Sheesh.
He's got Raymond James tattooed on his chest.
Yeah, he watches Pirates of the Caribbean now.
Oh yeah.
Anyways,
gonna get a cannon for his living room and everything.
So yeah, it just seemed wrong. That was all. It just seemed so wrong at that time. All right, so let's go through the NHL. So I've gone through the liberty of trying to break down every team in like a very short paragraph. And because for the most part, I've been solely paying attention to the Panthers, and thanks to a YouTube channel that I highly recommend, The Hockey Guy. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's a very, very good YouTube channel. He does breakdowns of the NHL pretty much every day, every game. So thanks to him and a few other articles and things, I've been able to piece together the entire picture of the NHL. And some things surprised me. Especially some welcome surprises, but other things were like, oh, okay, yeah, that's pretty much the same. And well, let's start with our division. The divisions are, I don't know if you know this, Charles, but the divisions are sponsored this year because
no, I just knew they got realigned because of the virus, but I did not know.
Yeah, we're selling divisions
sponsored.
Now.
Yeah, we are selling divisions, so we are not.
Is it okay if it's not KY?
No. So
I mean, you have the LA Clippers wearing the Bumble thing where we're telling everybody not to have any physical contact. We're going on an app that says, hey, kind of lonely, kind of horny, go on Bumble.
Mm-hmm. So the Discover Central Division, Discover card for the 5 people that have one of those.
I have one of those.
Oh, okay. Well,
I almost got one just so I can get the Panthers one.
Oh,
I just wanted the Panthers card. I was never going to use it. I just wanted the Panthers card.
Okay. So let's go through the Tampa Bay Lightning. Let's just start with them. Get them out of the way. Let's talk about them as much as
it pains me.
Yeah, they're. Really
Can I be mad about it?
They're really
yes.
good.
We eat some humble pie here, so it's okay. You can be angry and have your vegetables at the same time.
They're a really good hockey team.
Yeah, they're a good team, especially they're still doing good now, even with Kucherov out of the lineup for the entire season. Yep. They're managing to mitigate any damages that, missing him could cause them. You're the reigning Cup champions. You better be able to play without, even though he is one of the best players in the league, you better be able to manage. You have a perennial Norris candidate on defense.
Yep.
You just have a Vezina winner in net, like.
Yeah, and you didn't.
As much as I hate the team.
Yeah, they didn't lose many of their pieces aside from Verhaeghe, which we're all happy about. So Carter Verhaeghe was couldn't fit within the cap, so thankfully came on over to the other side of Florida, and he's doing very, very well. But aside from that, yeah, Lightning still look like the team to beat in our division for now, even without Kucherov. So
still a dirty team, and I hate them, but
Yeah, well, you see what happens when a team finally, pushes their buttons. They stoop down to the low level. All right, so that's what happened.
Yes, they get guys like Eric Chernak who just tries to end people's careers sometimes.
Radko Gudas always has clean hits. We all know this.
Oh, always.
He's a good dude. He's a good dude, all right? He's just
you can only earn the nickname of the Butcher for doing good things.
Yeah, he's got an epic beard. Come on now. All right, Charles, you would love to grow this beard if you're a Radko Gudas.
Well, you know me. When it comes to hockey, I'll support dirty players, such as my love for Brad Marchand, the only guy I kind of know from the Bruins. So I'm like, oh yeah, I know that dude. He's a douche. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, he's a perfect heel. Perfect team.
I actually don't hate Marchand as much as other people.
See, we're kindred right there.
The thing is, he's a douche, but he's very good. So that you got to respect that. You got to respect that. So let's move on. Let's go to the Florida Panthers, who are sitting very high in the division. And it's because of the PTSD. I'm so wary of them being this quote unquote good to start the season, which is very surprising for the Panthers in general, because they always have slow starts to their season and then they have to play catch up, and then we're playing the old, well, how many games in hand do they have every single season, and now they're not, and I'm uneasy. And I didn't feel this uneasiness back in 2016 when they last won the division, but I feel it now because of the last few years.
Well, in 2016 they weren't good. They did not deserve to win the division. Luongo carried them to that division win. Yep. That team was not good. And everyone, we won the division, and everyone was like, oh my God, we're good now.
We all got blinded by it.
Yeah, and there were so many flaws and issues with that team that Luongo hid. And now I'm still wary of them just because of, like you said, the PTSD. And I said this week on my podcast that this coming to the end of the month, we will know what the Panthers truly are. This is before the Tampa series, which they've won 2 out of 3 in. They have Carolina. Mm-hmm. They have 2 easy ones, a back-to-back against Detroit, but then they have 3 games against Dallas, including a back-to-back in there, and then Carolina again at the end of the month. And this will really show us if this team is for real.
Well, they've already gone through their first test with Tampa, which was what we were all expecting to be their first test, and they went 2-1. Albeit lots of goals being scored, albeit 2 lopsided games, and then the last game, which was
a barn burner.
Yeah, exactly. But they still kept up with them, which is saying something. And they have some grit to them finally, with some edge, thanks to Gudas, thanks to Hornquist, and we got some great scoring coming out of Verhaeghe, who is, mind you, the 3 guys that I mentioned all Barry Zito moves that have come in that have helped change the perception, and maybe another year with Coach Q, they're finally buying into a lot of systems and things like that. But the defense is vastly improved, not completely improved, not fixed, but it's getting there. But the goaltending still bothers me, because I said, because we're getting around the quarter mark of the season already, because there's only 56 games, the Panthers needs to make a really hard decision, and Chris Driedger should be the number 1 goaltender going forward from here. I get Bob is being paid a lot, but you can pay him, and he's been uneasy.
It's the sunk cost fallacy. You've sunk so much money and investment into this that you're just like, well, I'm gonna just keep writing it out and just keep going at it.
I don't know if you follow baseball, but the Marlins signed a pitcher named Wei Yin Chen a few years ago for like one of the worst deals that you can give a pitcher, and he was just awful, an awful signing. I think he was getting paid like $22 million per year to be an awful pitcher, and then they finally bought him out in that last season. So, I guess Fortune Naruto, your buddy there, knows of Wei Yin Chen.
He's a big baseball fan. Okay. Marlins are his second team, but he's a big Cleveland Indians guy.
We definitely got to get the Hokage up in here.
Hurting after this offseason, huh? All right, so yeah, this is. It reminds me of that, and we might just have to bite the bullet on Bob at some point, especially when you have these other goaltenders that you're developing. You have Luongo create his goalie development program, whatever the heck that is. So we have this whole thing. We can't just have, like, he's going to be here for 7 years? So
it was a 7-year contract, and we're in year 2. So yes, and you have goalies in the system like Sam Montembeault, who we still don't know what he can be or what he is, because signing Bob to this albatross of a contract has clogged the system. You have Ryan Bednard, who's currently in the ECHL. He's in the ECHL right now because we don't have our own AHL affiliate this year. We're sharing with the Lightning because Charlotte doesn't want to run during the pandemic year. So now, instead of him being in the AHL getting proper development, he's in the ECHL. And then you have Spencer Knight coming up, which I think he's done in college after this year. He's just dominating college. He has nothing else to learn there, and you just have this logjam now.
I mean, the Panthers had both of their prospect goaltenders finish the World Juniors on both sides of Canada and USA, so there's people that are waiting.
Oh yeah, I didn't even get into Devin West.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah,
but I am cautiously optimistic. I'll say
the farm system is great. Prospects is what I mainly started with. I made another Twitter page, which is at Cats Prospects, because a while ago, we had Cats on the Prowl doing a lot of prospect stuff, and he left because he got busy with life. And I was like, there's this huge void here for the Florida Panthers in social media and news. I was like, well, let me fill this and try and build a platform off of that. So I watch a lot of prospects. If I'm not watching the NHL, I'm watching the KHL or Liga or the SHL. I'm watching all hockey leagues constantly.
You do a lot better job than I do, because I hate prospect watching. I've been burned so many times by Bus and other prospects. And the Panthers have been very awful in the talent years, save for Barkov and Ekblad and Huberdeau, and for the most part haven't drafted very well, and Mike Matheson gives me PTSD as well. Barry Zito is already a saint for getting rid of that contract.
So here's the difference in the trends of those players that you named. They didn't go through the system. They came straight to the team. The players that go through our system of development they just don't get proper development in our system.
Quiet, thanks for Naruto. I'm still working with this mic. I got it for Christmas, and I'm still trying to figure it out, but I don't want to.
Would it be Sports Goose without a Goof situation, right?
Well, I can edit that for later on when I made the podcast version of it. Thanks to the magic of technology, so I won't sound too quiet there. Anyways, I'll try and project a little louder there. But anyways, yeah. So let's move on. We can talk about the Panthers all day, and I know we can. But I
have a Panther question, if I can attack it real quickly. So, John, anytime I kind of go into my, a new season, a new hockey season, being with the show with the guys for 3 years on my end, my whole thing is kind of like, who do you want to kind of keep around, get rid of? Because even though I'm not a big hockey guy, I understand the concept of having to trade out these terrible contracts with a salary cap or a salary floor that you have to deal with. And when we spoke about it, I think last season we were doing it, probably episode, early 80, we talked about who you can see getting out there, whether it be Huberdeau, Barkov, and Ekblad. Look at that. I said names I remember. What is there for both of you? Is there somebody now that you said, hey, let's kind of get rid of them while it's hot so we can get some of those other pieces that we might need going into the season? Because if I'm not mistaken, you're about, a third of the way through your season now?
Yeah, they're about
a quarter, I would say.
Okay, so close into it. But is there somebody that that you want to be the sacrificial lamb to make the team more complete, especially if you have to catch up to the Lightning or all the other teams in the conferences?
So it's trading someone I think is good, not someone I completely hate and just want them off the team? Is that what we're going with?
I would say, who has to be that sacrificial lamb? Because to my knowledge, what Francisco has told me is that the contract situation is going to be very tricky, especially if you got Bobrovsky. Is that his name? I want to call him the bro, but okay. So I'm going to call him the bro. So when you got the bro, but then I believe you have to pay out Ekblad. Am I retaining things, Francisco? What is this? But with all the guys that you have, is there somebody's contract that is kind of that could possibly be impeding your success, that you think would be a good move so you guys could be more complete? Because from what I'm hearing, you guys, there's hope for the future, but there's still reservations and you want to compete. No team wants to just play second fiddle. So is there somebody there that you think, hey, aside from who was mentioned earlier with Bob, because you already know you're stuck 5 years remaining on that contract, is anybody else that's on there? Would it be, oh my God, am I going to say positions? Who the hell am I? Wings? Forwards? Enforcers? Go on. I'm proud of myself. But your insight onto it.
The two contracts that stick out to me that hold them back besides Bob is Brett Connolly and Anton Strawman. He's a serviceable defenseman, but he's just old.
Way too much.
like his positioning is solid, his brain is solid, but he just isn't fast enough to keep up sometimes. I almost wish we could have just taken his brain and put it in Matheson's body, and that would have solved all our problems. And those two contracts, Connolly's on the fourth line now, and he's making almost $4 million a year, and it just doesn't make sense. There's no room for him. Strawman's making 3 point something for another. After this one, he has another year on his contract, and it just, But if I had to trade someone good, it's Anthony Duclair.
Really?
I think. I didn't like the signing. I like Duclair. I like Duclair as a player a lot.
Finally got his 2 goals.
One. He only got one yesterday.
Oh, they pulled back the other one, huh? Okay.
It took him this long to get it, but
been knocking on the door. He's been close. I feel like he's been snake bitten more than anything else.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I feel like maybe the floodgates open for him, but he's streaky normally anyway, and you have Owen Tippett just sitting on the third line, and Tippett can do these things that you want from Duclair, and he's supposed to be one of the best goal scorers for the future of the NHL, and you're just letting him sit on the third line. He's not getting any power play time. I think Duclair's kind of clogging up the spot that you could just use for him, and I think if you can flip Duclair to someone and just let Tippett step up, that's what it should be.
For him for a while now. So
and he scored his first goal yesterday, and he's had a lot of good looks, but I complain about on my podcast a lot that he doesn't get power play time, and coaches need to. Not every player on your team needs to be a great two-way guy.
That's true.
It's okay for someone to be an offensive specialist. It's okay. Let them be that. And
the Panthers are in need of guys like that.
Exactly, and he's currently on a line with Frank the Tank Vetrano and Eetu Luosterainen, and they've been getting a lot of defensive zone starts instead of being sheltered and getting a lot of offensive zone starts where Tippett can really, get better shots on net.
Right?
Yeah, he's getting put in the defensive zone a lot because Eetu Luosterainen, he's such a good two-way player. He's so good defensively, and he's a guy I was advocating for that he could get that 3C spot this season because I was watching him play over in Finland in Liga, and I was posting highlights of him, and I was like, this kid's good. Like, he should get a chance, and lo and behold, he got the third-line center job this year.
So there you go, Charles. There's your answer right there.
And that always matters in any kind of sport because you can have a guy who's doing great or a guy who's doing good. Bad players are never really going to get their contracts moved unless you're sending out cash considerations or draft picks or a supplemental player. But it's very weird. I feel like it's always kind of being reborn for me, an opportunity to watch the hockey season and seeing, because I asked Francisco the other day, how are the Panthers doing? He's like, we're not bad. And I'm like, oh no.
You have to bad,
but I don't know if we're good.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Sometimes you want to be good because they kind of carry around. Like, I'm a Tennessee Titans fan for football, and we were the personification of just kind of being there. Not bad, not great, sometimes above average, sometimes below average. And then 2 seasons ago, we're in the AFC Championship. So that's why I focus on of like when you have to move a player to get the more supporting pieces. That's where like my mentality takes me, because even though we know you can sign all the best players in the world and have all the best players, you're only that best player or a very good player for that time period. And once that contract kind of hinders and you can get more better people, then not full blow up rebuild, but anything to help you be in any kind of contention, especially since this is kind of just a weird year. I always tell people, we talk about on the show, every season of a sports season during the virus season is always going to be like an asterisk season until we get more of the fleshed out play that might not be available to us. So I just want to get that insight, because for me, we have a segment called To Learn a Goof, and I feel like these are my little Learn a Goof mini sessions where I'm going to be quizzed on probably halfway through the season, and then we know what's going on if I'm paying attention. Yeah. But I remember names. Holy crap.
Well, let's go on to the next team, the Carolina Hurricanes. Best puck possession team in the league.
Yeah, I think Carolina is actually the team to beat in the division. I think they're a better team than Tampa.
You know what? The funny thing, they're the best puck possession team in the league. They've played 3/4 of their season on the road. They've only had like 3 home games, and they've won all 3 of them. And they're playing really well. Our good old buddy Trocheck is over there now. They look good. They look good so far. They just need if they Well, I feel like they're going to hit their stride once they start playing a ton of home games, and that's going to be really scary.
For Carolina, goaltending is always the question for them. For me, how consistent is Peter Mrazek going to be? How consistent is James Reimer going to be? You know, with Reimer, you never know, but Reimer's been killing it there, and I mean, I hope Trocheck finds a nice new home there. I mean, I know Trocheck had to go. He was never going to be the same guy that we loved. I mean, he's still Trocheck, but he's not going to be the same player after his injuries. And he has like half an ankle left after all his surgeries. And I mean, and we got Eetu Luostarinen out of that trade deal. He's really the only remaining piece, and I'm happy we got him. But yeah, I mean, Carolina has, you can call their goaltending mediocre or inconsistent, but they have the best defensive core in the league. Yeah. No question. The best defense. Yeah. And they have so many guys just sitting, waiting, who are also good on their taxi squad right now, and I don't see how you're going to beat that defense. Yeah, they managed to win with a Zamboni driver in net last year because their defense is that good. And Aho and Teravainen haven't even hit their real stride yet this season. They're underperforming, and they're still winning these games, and it's just I think they're the team to beat in the division.
All right. Next, the Columbus Blue Jackets are the soap opera team at this point.
Yes, the Torch Show.
Yeah, they're 5-3. I think this is last season, by the way. I can't see if there are rumors that he's already tired of coaching, and then pretty much nobody wants to be in Columbus, Ohio, for some reason. So I don't know what's with the deal there. I don't know if there's not enough things to do while you're stuck inside. I have no idea. But they're 5-3-2 since Pierre-Luc Dubois' trade.
Yeah, I mean, they got Patrick Laine in that trade back, and Jack Roslovic, who's really been hitting his stride because he was underutilized at Winnipeg. And you want to talk about clogged systems, that's one right there. And he was buried there. And, you know, just like we saw with Verhaeghe coming here, he has his chance to shine. Now Jack Roslovic has his chance to shine in Columbus, and he's taking every single advantage of the situation. And of course, now he's get to play with Patrick Laine, one of the best goal scorers.
Yeah.
I'm glad. I'm pissed we have to play him now. I was glad, Winnipeg, I didn't have to see him. He terrorizes the Panthers.
That's true. Yeah, there was always that big Finnish face-off between him and Barkov every time.
I honestly wish we traded for him just so him and Barkov can play together.
I think because they train together in the off season. They're like buds.
They play Call of Duty together every night.
Yeah, exactly. So it would have been perfect. I mean, the NHL freaking had the 2-game series in Finland because of those two. So
yeah, and Columbus is going to have a lot of questions going into the offseason, so I don't know if they're in like desperation mode now. I mean, Torts is only going to get a team so far, and I say this as someone who is also a part-time Rangers fan and has seen Torts' coaching firsthand. They're a hard-working team. They're probably the second hardest working team in the NHL. But how long is hard work going to get you if you don't have skill to also help? And they're going to have a hard choice this offseason with their goalie situation, having both Jonas Korpisalo and Elvis Merzlikins. The Seattle expansion draft is this season, and one of those guys is probably going to go. Do you trade one beforehand so you at least get something back? They're going to have a lot of tough choices heading into the offseason, and I don't know how much it looks for them outside of this season if this is like a big shot for them to try and do something now.
That or they decide to hit the reset button and try and improve their image of Columbus, because I don't know who the PR person for the Blue Jackets is, but they need to start doing a better job, because it seems like nobody wants to play there. There was like that NHL or one of those hockey writers polls that was like polled NHL players, like it was like one of the 4th least wanted places to go to in the league, which is crazy. Like, okay, all right, Columbus, Ohio, nobody wants to be there. Chicago,
it's one of those places. Chicago, yes.
Surprising. The mixture of the relics of the dynasty, but the rebuild rookies in there.
Yeah, how far is Kevin Lankinen gonna take this team? Is the question.
That is true.
I mean, no one knows who Kevin Lankinen is. Like 2 years ago, a year ago, like who is this? Like how long is he going to be able to sustain this level of play? And are the Blackhawks just kidding themselves? Like at what point do you just say, okay, let's stop half-assing this and just tank? Like
I don't know.
At what point do you just put off this rebuild for so long. Like, yeah, it's a welcome surprise, and they're doing this without Jonathan Taves. They're doing this without Kirby Daw, and
Patrick Kane's still scoring. So
Patrick Kane's gonna Patrick Kane.
Yeah, he's still the leader and everything for them. So,
is he still waking up in the morning? Okay, the Patrick Kane's still going to be scoring however many goals. And DeBrinket's having a bounce back season. He wasn't happy with his performance last season, and he's really having a bounce back season. Duncan Keith it's still a workhorse. Still, I mean, you can't get this man off the ice. I don't know what you have to do for him to finally get off the ice, but I mean, at his age, he's still doing it, and I don't know how long they're going to... I feel like they're overperforming, and we're going to see them slip back down.
I mean, they were projected to be one of the worst teams in the league, so...
Well, they're also still... They're 6 points up on Dallas right now, who is projected to be the other big team in the division, which well get to them, I guess, next.
To them next.
But,
yeah,
so I'll just segue it with this. Dallas has only played 12 games, whereas Chicago's played 17. And they're only 6 points behind.
That's what I've noted. They haven't... I mean, aside from Joe Pavelski doing some really good things at his age, for the Stars right now, the Stars haven't had a chance to really get going. Because it seems like when they start getting going... then the virus hits. And then they had this long losing streak, which was not good. But I feel like part of that is the fact that they just can't seem to get going with a routine. Because if you're stop and play and then you can't practice, you can't do this, then of course you're going to have some bad performances. So I feel like they've kind of been unlucky to start the season because of circumstances, you know?
It's so hard to get a consistent rhythm when your games keep getting canceled.
Yeah. And now a snowstorm just canceled their games. So
they had a slow
in Dallas, Texas, of all places.
And they have... I love Dallas. They're like... I don't want to say a guilty pleasure team of mine to watch, but I like a lot of the players on that team. I absolutely love watching Miro Heiskanen. He is going to be one of the best defensemen in the NHL. He already is, and he's still so young. And he's already getting comparisons to Nick Lidstrom, which is high praise because, in my opinion, Nick Lidstrom is the best NHL defenseman of all time.
Ooh, whoa, okay. Wow.
And he's already getting compared to that because he's so young and he just has this such a calm composure, and he's always doing the right things on the ice, and he's always in the play in the right spots, and it's incredible. And they have Rupe Hintz, they have Joel Kiviranta, they have Denis Gurianov, these young kids just bolstering their lineup with the veteran presence of Pavelski and Esa Lindell and John Klingberg. Tyler Sagan's still out, but they have Jamie Benn. And
basically the reasons why they made the final last year, essentially.
And they made it without Ben Bishop. Yeah. And I know Ben Bishop is the guy from SpongeBob with glass bones and paper skin, and he's always hurt. But like when he isn't hurt, he has been consistently one of the top goalies in the NHL, and they are doing good without him. Just wait till he comes back. And I hope he can come back because he's a great goalie to watch. And they're doing this with Anton Khudobin, who had a great postseason, and Jake Ottinger, who... It's funny, I just went back and was watching the 2017 World Juniors where he was on that team for Team USA, and I was like, oh, he was there. I didn't even realize because some of these guys you just don't pick up. But yeah, they have a lot of young guys bolstering that lineup who didn't get a lot of play time last year, and now they are, and they're doing what they need to do.
And once Dallas gets a normal routine and isn't interrupted, I'm sure they'll be fine. They'll be fine. I don't think they should panic unless this goes on. And if we're at the halfway point and this is still happening, then you might start hitting the panic button.
Plus, Pantera does their goal song. Like, how can you not cheer for that?
I love their goal horn routine. They honk the horn for every single goal they've scored so far. So if they scored 6 times, you're gonna hear that thing 6 times. So that's always fun. And BU, let's see what he's saying here. Well, goalies also don't necessarily get to play a lot of the World Juniors when there's a clear numero uno. And Jake will certainly do well for Dallas in the future, in my very biased opinion.
Oh, yeah, he will be very good. I think he was behind Tyler Parsons, who is now a Calgary prospect in the that World Juniors. And, I mean, he hasn't seen any playtime up there, and Jake Ottinger already is. So we'll see how that goes.
All right, let's move on. The Nashville Predators, the most disappointing team in the league so far.
Oh, for me, this is the most expected.
Really? Oh, it
Oh,
seemed
yeah.
Were
that
they
way.
projected?
I mean, they have been downtrending since they made that cup final. But yeah, well, they unlucky schedule. They've played Tampa all this time. They lost all 4 games to the Bolts, and they need to make some decisions. I feel like the Predators need to make a decision. Are you guys? Is it time to start blowing it up?
I think it is. And the whole core of what got them to the playoff that far in the playoffs in the first place was on the back of Pekka Rinne.
Yep, that's true.
Pekka Rinne is getting up there in age. And the thing with goalies, the only way I describe goalies is that goalies are voodoo. You never know with goalies, and when they don't gradually decline all the time.
Goalies are like, I believe they're like closers in baseball. Because closers in baseball, you could have a closer that is so dominant for like 2, 3, maybe even 4 years. Let's say 5 years, all right? And then they fall off a cliff afterwards. Like for whatever reason, they lose velocity, they just don't have control, or basically everybody figures them out. What I don't know what happens, but
yeah,
they fall off a cliff.
There's no steady decline. There's no pattern of decline. There's just they hit the wall and they hit it full force. They're a crash test dummy, just throwing themselves at the wall. And we saw that with Luongo. We saw that with so many goalies that when they hit that aging wall, they hit it hard. And that's what's happening in Nashville with Pekka Rinne. And the way me and my girlfriend describe the Nashville Predators when we talk about them is it's where offense goes to die. If you're a forward, you don't want to play in Nashville because their whole entire scheme in the offensive zone has to go through Roman Josi, Matthias Ekholm. It has to go through the defense. That's what they had PK Subban, and they were rolling with it, and it goes through the defense. It's all shots from the point and hope for a rebound. Well, those are low danger chances, and you're hoping this goalie just doesn't catch it and cover it up. It's just every offensive player who ends up in Nashville just retire because it's where offense goes to die, and they need to find a new coach. They need to find they did get a new coach, but they got John Hines, who had just gotten fired from the New Jersey Devils after only like a year and a half, and it's a shit show in Nashville, and I think it's time for them to bite the bullet and blow it up.
Next, this is all I have for the Detroit Red Wings. They're bad, but they're not as bad as last year, so progress.
Yeah, they beat the Panthers.
Yeah,
because Panthers
first regulation loss. There you go. All right, man.
Yeah, to Detroit, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, I like a lot of stuff Detroit has. I think.
Well, once again, they got Steve Yzerman. This is part of the plan. They have some young pieces there that they will have some flashes of brilliance that are like, okay, all right, we got something. We got some things to build upon going into the future, but it's not right now for Detroit. But it's all a matter of patience for all the Detroit teams, to be honest.
It's that season for Detroit where it's okay. We're gonna lose a lot of games, but let's be feisty. Let's
see what
go
we got
down with
too as well.
Yeah, and there's a lot of guys on that team who are trying to prove something still. Bobby Ryan, for instance.
Well, yeah, Bobby Ryan's going to be a deadline deal. We all know that. He's already doing well for them, so I can see them trading him for some more pieces. It only makes sense.
Yeah, the stuff guys on Detroit have to play for is play for yourself. We'll move you for something at the deadline. You'll help us get something, and we'll maybe help you get a cup. There's a lot of stuff for Detroit, and they have a lot of good prospects in the system. I watch a lot of prospects, not just Panthers prospects, especially ones that I had wanted the Panthers to get. They drafted, I don't remember what year, Moritz Seider. It was the Spencer Knight draft that the Panthers picked him. And I didn't want Spencer Knight, to be honest, because I don't like picking goalies in the first round, because goalies are voodoo and you just never know. And I wanted Moritz Seider so bad. And especially with all the defensive help the Panthers needed, I thought Moritz Seider fits the scheme perfectly of what we needed. He's a more modern day version of Gudis without the questionability. He is just a bully, man. He is a bully, and he just plays great. He can move the puck. He can do whatever you want him to do.
Has a skill and the edge that you wanted.
Yeah, Moritz Seider is going to be a name to watch on Detroit for a long time.
next. All right, let's move on to the Scotiabank North Division, as they call it now, because everything in Canada is either sponsored by Scotiabank or Rogers, so that's a thing. And let's start. Oh, I want to start with the Toronto Maple Leafs because it's so funny today now. So
oh yeah,
I wrote this before yesterday happened. I put, are they for real this time? And now underneath that, I put, never mind. They blew a 5-1 lead against the Ottawa Senators. That's all it was for me. The offense. This was my original notes. The offense is finishing. Freddie Anderson may be the best goalie in the division. Matthews and Marner are giving the Oilers duo of McDavid and Draisaitl a run for their money at this point. But then they lost a game to the Ottawa Senators by blowing a 5-1 lead, and now it's like, okay, they're the same very good in the regular season Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah, it's really funny to watch them do that, and former Panther
on the anniversary of the David Ayers game.
Oh man, Toronto is. I mean, I don't think Freddie Anderson is the best goalie in the North. I don't think you could say that comfortably when the reigning Vezina winner and Connor Hellebuck is there. And Jacob Markstrom, granted Calgary's been a bit of a mess. I still think they're both usually more consistent than Freddie. Freddie is, to me, he's becoming the new Mike Smith, where you're either going to get like a 950 save percentage or you're just going to get a sub 800. It's rolling the dice, and especially him, his future's in question there, and I don't know if that's weighing on him or what because of contract negotiations. I don't know. I don't think they improved their defense as much as people think they did. I think they're taking advantage of a very weak division because it's a very weak division.
Yeah, it's kind of open end here. You got they got number 2 in Montreal.
I think Montreal is the better team.
They've gone so far head to head. They've only played 3 games between them and the Leafs. The Habs are 1-1-1 at this point, but that probably will change going into the future. But I see that matchup being very, very good going forward. I would like to see that matchup in the playoffs, to be honest. And another Leafs collapse in the playoffs is always fun to watch too.
Yeah, and I think in the playoffs Montreal gets the advantage just because with the backup situation in Montreal, having Jake Allen, newly acquired in the offseason, Carey Price can rest.
Yeah.
Carey Price can take a break. You can't afford for Frederik Andersen to rest, especially now with Jack Campbell out, because that means Michael Hutchinson's going to get into a game. And we all know what happens when Michael Hutchinson gets into a game. Yeah, Michael Hutchinson's back, baby.
Oh my goodness gracious. I'm like, whoa. When was the last time I heard of him? When he was in Winnipeg, I think. So, yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah, so you don't want him to get into net, so Freddie's going to play a lot, and I think Carey Price is going to be more well rested. I think they have the better defense core with Shea Weber, Jeff Petrie. Alexander Romanov has been a great surprise for them. He's such a young player on that blue line, and he's already showing what he can do. And that's another player I watched in Russia already, and I already knew what he had. This year in fantasy, I just drafted a bunch of rookies just to have fun. So all the players I watched in other leagues, I just drafted them just to have fun.
All right. Next, the Edmonton Oilers. The best offense in the league, thanks to our good old buddy Connor McDavid there. But
the non-existent defense they have.
That's what I put. They suck at defense, which will ultimately be their downfall. They probably will make the playoffs, but that's ultimately going to be their downfall.
Yeah, look, if you're the teams that don't make the playoffs not Ottawa. We're not counting you, Ottawa. If you're the other 2 teams that don't make the playoffs in this division, something is probably wrong, and you need to address everything. This is a very weak division. Vancouver has. We'll get to Vancouver.
Yeah, they might also be the most disappointing team at this point.
But Edmonton's goaltending is suspect. You let Peter Chiarelli sign Mikko Koskinen to this contract and then fired him, 2 days later? And it's not a good look. And you have him and Mike Smith, who I just mentioned as he's either going to shut you out or allow 6 goals. And you just
old.
never know. Yeah, exactly. I don't know how he's still in the league. And they went with him in the playoffs last year too much, I think. And
Mike Smith has been riding on that 2012 run he had with the Coyotes for like the last 8 years.
Mike Smith is a better version of Cam Ward than Cam Ward.
Ooh.
Cam Ward rode his Stanley Cup win with Carolina for so long, and it expired finally, and he's no longer in the league. But Mike Smith is still somehow managing to get contracts doing this. I don't understand.
Okay. So that's the Oilers. The Winnipeg Jets. They don't have enough parks. This is as of when I wrote this. They were 4-3-1 since the Line A trade, and they've yet to play either Toronto or Montreal to really test what they're really about.
Yeah, I think there's some deep locker room issues there, and a lot of it's been coming out with the Line A trade. Like there's some sketchy stuff going on in that locker room with Scheifele, whether he's like creating divisions in the locker room, it sounds like sometimes, and it's very questionable. And you have players like Bufflin randomly being like, "No, I'm not doing this," and Line A wanting out, and Roslovic wanting out.
It seems like they have the talent to compete, but they just don't. They can't get it together for some reason.
I mean, look, as long as they have Connor Hellebuck in net, they're going to be competitive in this division. As long as Connor Hellebuck can stall long enough for God knows who to do something on offense, they could be competitive in this division.
All right. The Calgary Flames. They had an start to the season, but they've been able to start turning it around. Johnny Gaudreau's having a bounce back year. We got our good old buddy Jacob Markstrom in net as well. And,
yeah, I mean, slow start. Markstrom's adjusting to a new system. It takes time for a goalie sometimes to learn the new defense.
Lack of preseason is affecting a lot of teams too.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, last year it's very rare for the entire top line to just decide to have a horrible year. And that's what happened last year with Calgary. And a lot of those guys are looking for a big bounce back year. And I think they'll get it off. I think they'll definitely hit their stride coming in the next part of the season. I think we'll see them pick it up.
Yeah, and luckily they're in the Canadian division, so they won't really have many stoppages in play. So that's that. The Vancouver Canucks. Oh boy.
Yeah, so right now they're sitting 6th in this division, only ahead of Ottawa, and they've played more games than every other team, and it's not looking great.
It's not saying much when you're just ahead of Ottawa at this point.
Yeah, I mean, they have a point percentage of .395.
They have the second worst goal differential. They had a 6-game losing streak in a 56-game season, mind you. So that is like you're already really shooting yourself in the foot right there immediately. Yeah, things aren't looking good in Vancouver at all.
Yeah, it's something I'm glad the Panthers learned this season. You can't afford a slow start. Yeah. You cannot afford it, and they're gonna try and bail themselves out. I mean, Elias Pettersson started slow. Quinn Hughes is having a sophomore slump, it seems, and a lot of they're adjusting to. I mean, Braden Holtby has to adjust to the new system. They're trying to see if Thatcher Demko can be a starter that they think he can be after he showed some glimpses.
Right.
And they have a lot of things to work out, and they had a lot of stuff come out and about, maybe the GM gets fired, and the owner just started a Twitter thread saying, no, we're not going to fire anybody. But we've heard that before, just like Mark Bergevin said, I'm not going to trade PK Subban, and then immediately traded PK Subban. Yeah. Like, they say this all the time. Like, how much can we trust this word? How safe is Jim Benning's job? He let Tyler Toffoli walk in the offseason, and he's lit them up this season. And he let Jacob Markstrom walk this season, and he's probably would have been a better goaltending option. And all he said was, I just ran out of time. How you can't run out of time on these things. Like, this is your entire job.
Not Ottawa, but Vancouver. He's been there forever.
A while, and he just ran out of time this offseason. How?
Everybody was sitting at home.
You have nothing but time, and it's your job. How did you run out of time? It's because Just say it. I made some bad contracts in our bottom six.
I was playing Animal Crossing, all right?
Way too long. I had to gather my resources for the day. It happens.
All right, I owe Tom Nook. All right, so there you go.
I'm in debt.
So all right, so that Ottawa Senators, they're awful. We know they're awful. They may not even win double digits this year, but they have got a hot streak lately. So when you win 2 games in a row, that's a hot streak. Then they beat the Leafs, which is funny, and I already like the sense. Now I'm looking at them like lovable losers at this point after they beat the Leafs the way they did. And our good old buddy Evgeny Dadonov with both the game tying goal and the game winning goal. He's doing pretty all right in Ottawa. Unfortunately, he's with a terrible team. And,
yeah, I mean, a lot of Panthers fans are like, "Oh, I'm glad we got rid of him," but you can't give the same judgment to someone playing with Barkov versus playing with. I think he was on a line with Derek Stepan. Like, you just can't make that comparison. Plus, he already had the chemistry with Barkov and Huberdeau, and now he needs to develop this chemistry with new people. And I mean, he's a guy I did want to hang on to in the offseason. Yeah. I really did.
Yeah, I was, because it was like a debate over him or Hoffman, and it was neither. So
I wanted Hoffman out.
Yeah, Hoffman was already like, okay, he's gonna line up at the point, and we all know what the power play is already. Everybody knows what's gonna happen here. He's gonna line up the one timer, and at that point it was getting old. I'm like, okay, enough of this.
Yandel to Hoffman, Hoffman to Yandel, Yandel to Hoffman, shoots, goes wide. Okay, let's move on.
All right, so we are. Let's see. So that's half of the league already. Charles, are you still alive?
Yeah, I am. I'm actually learning. I find that there's some insight coming into it, and what I learn is that Canada still sucks. It's okay, and that it kind of seems like there's a lot of guys that you guys let go that don't necessarily miss you from between.
Well,
but
we're doing all right now, so we're not really missing them for now.
To go back to Ottawa real quick, Tim Stützle is fun to watch too. I've enjoyed watching Tim Stützle.
Yeah, and Brady Tkachuk is there too, so he's always a fun watch as well. So that says about Senators fans, of course, they all fear that eventually their good guys will eventually go away at the first chance they get, and that's the unfortunate thing with Ottawa as a franchise at this point. Okay,
well,
so
you don't want to pay your players.
Well, when you have a crappy owner, so that doesn't help at all. Yeah, let's. So we are 5 minutes before we get to the halfway point of our show. We're almost an hour in. I do these small segments, all right, Johnny. And,
okay.
This time, they're little time things to kind of bridge the gap between one larger segment to another. So we'll get to the second half of the league after the halfway point break. So let me get I haven't done one of these in a while. Better know a minor league team, where we learn about all the 4 billion different minor league teams that are out there. For various sports, mainly baseball, basketball, and hockey. This time, I do have a hockey team lined up. It is the Utah Grizzlies. The Utah Grizzlies. Have you heard of them, Johnny?
Of course.
You're a prospect, man. Of course, you're gonna pay attention to the ECHL. It no longer stands for the East Coast Hockey League, because for a long time it hasn't been East Coast. But yeah, the Utah Grizzlies, they were established in 1981, formerly the Nashville South Stars, back in the old Central Hockey League. They were the Virginia Lancers as well, and they moved on over to the ECHL back in 1988. They were also there's a few different names here. The Roanoke Valley Rebels, the Roanoke Valley Rampage, the Huntsville Blast, our beloved Tallahassee Tiger Sharks, the Macon Whoopie, that's my favorite one so far, and the Lexington Men O' War. And then in 2005, they became the Utah Grizzlies. They took the original Utah Grizzlies, who were formerly in the American Hockey League. They took the name and the IP, and they brought it on over when they moved on over to Utah from Lexington. Their current affiliates are the Colorado Avalanche. They have yet to win a Kelly Cup at this point. They play at the Maverick Center in West Valley City, Utah, which opened in 1997. Capacity of 10,100 for hockey. And here's some wrestling tidbits. Charles is our wrestling guru. He knows pretty much everything about wrestling. So, Charles, their first ever event at this arena was WCW Monday Nitro Live in September of 1997, which was the debut of your good old buddy Goldberg.
Oh, hey, that started something very incredible, and then painstakingly a month ago when Goldberg just Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. Why am I always tortured by this man? Why?
He is your personal Sephiroth.
To a degree. Vince McMahon is my personal Sephiroth, even though I did, and I'm going to say it now as an early spoiler for the show. All right, so Johnny, I have a segment called The Cage, which gives me the wrestling recap, but I was telling to my friend that basically when it comes to booking with wrestling, I don't know if you're a wrestling fan, please say that you are, that Vince McMahon are, the two testicles in the same ballsack, because sometimes he books things that I'm like, I do the same thing too. And then he does stuff with Goldberg that makes you realize it's testicular torsion. Continue, Francisco, on that light.
I haven't kept up with too much newer WWE stuff. I mean, I was growing up, I watched it a lot, and during, let's see who was around besides the people who were constantly around.
Goldberg.
The Rob Van Dam, Goldberg has always been around. During the Kane and Undertaker feuds, the Edge, and
well, I got news for you.
Eddie Guerrero.
They're like baby's kids. They don't die, they multiply, pal. Because some of those guys are still around, including Edge.
Yeah, I know Edge just won the Royal Rumble, right?
Yeah. Yes, he did.
See, what else did this place? They hosted the original Grizzlies from 1995 to 2005. They hosted hockey in the 2002 Olympics and Paralympics. And some of the concerts that they've hosted in this city: Fish, Depeche Mode, and One Direction. So there you go. There's your music.
That's a very eclectic sound of music right there.
I am glad you picked an ECHL team. The ECHL is fun if you just want to see
the
like
Panthers finally have an affiliate for the first time in forever.
It's so fun if you just want to see like a shit show of a game. If you just want to see high scoring, no defense, people just punching each other in the face, choking someone, go to an ECHL game.
We got 3 franchises in the state of Florida. We got the Jacksonville Icemen, the Orlando Solar Bears, and the Florida Everblades. And we got some good cheap hockey fun.
I go to Solar Bear games every so often because I live I'm in Orlando currently, so I'm right by the Amway where they play. And mine and my girlfriend's first date was a Solar Bears game because hockey buffs.
Okay, all right. So that finally took us over the halfway point. So Charles, you know what this means, but Johnny does not know. It is a word.
Is he ready for this?
It is a word from our non-sponsors. Johnny, every week we highlight people, places, things, concepts, what have you. We are not sponsored by, because we have very few sponsors. Very few people are actually paying us money to do this. Every once in a while, somebody does.
Sell out.
We do sell out. If somebody
sell out badly.
Exactly. We might sell out soon enough for somebody. I have to make a decision about that soon enough. Anyways,
this is brought to you by Raid Shadow.
Oh yeah. I would love a Raycon headphones, or NordVPN, or one of the 4,000 VPNs out there. Anybody, any one of you want to sponsor us, we will shill your product.
I actually use Nord.
Okay, yeah, I gotta watch those international Netflix stuff, So.
International hockey games.
Oh, smart, very smart. I gotta get away from Reddit NHL streams. All right, so yeah, me, Charles, and Andrew, we talk about something that we've been enjoying over the past week. It doesn't matter what it is or what have you. We just like to talk about it and recommend it to people. So I guess I'll start. Just to give you an example. So, guys, we talked about it before the show. We're all gamers here. We love the video games. I've been destroying my eyeballs in front of a TV, playing electronic fun since 1991. since the good old Sonic the Hedgehog. All right. And much like Sonic, my life has been a roller coaster ever since. But yeah, I love gaming, and that's been my New Year's resolution is to beat a ton of video games. But it is hard. It is hard, my good friends, when it almost seems like these video game companies just are giving them away at this point. Something you buy a gaming PC, it's like $700 or even more, depending on where you get it, but you got to spend money on games. But a lot of companies just want to give them away. And I luckily found a very handy website, and that's who my non-sponsor is, GamerPower.com. So GamerPower.com, they keep you informed on the latest free games and in-game loot. Doesn't matter what you have, whether you have an Xbox or a PlayStation or a Nintendo Switch, your mobile phones, or a gaming PC. Steam, Epic Games, GOG, what have you. Any of those things, and they got it here, all the games and loot, DLC, and it makes it difficult when I'm trying to beat this backlog. It's finally below 200, guys. I have 33% of my video games still need to be beaten, but it's getting down there. I've gotten it down like 7% this year. I've been beating a ton of video games, but they're just literally giving them away. And that keeps adding to it, and I have to keep playing. Johnny, I've been playing Metal Gear Solid 5 since the month started, and it is a commitment at this point. I am 45 or 40. I'm almost 50 hours in, and I'm not even 20% done with the game. So
I've been doing the Final Fantasy VII remake.
Oh boy, and that's not even all of Final Fantasy VII. No, spoiler alert. So games are long, games are hard, and they're just giving them away, and I can't keep up. But ever since college, ever since I went to Florida State, ever since then I've learned to freeload and freeload hard. Charles, we are freeloaders. Charles admittedly is very cheap when it comes to his gaming.
You heard the speech about the controller situation. We don't play around, man.
Yeah.
Hey man, if it's free, it's for me. That's just how we roll.
Exactly.
I'll just steal it from a kid.
Yeah. I can't imagine explaining to my 10, 15, whatever year old self, hey, there's tons of free games out there, but I'm not going to take them because I don't have time. No, I'm going to take every single free video game that I will get, even if I never play it or if it takes me 5 years just to get to it. So GamerPower.com, you can create your own profile and choose which console, whatever that you have, and you log in every once in a while. They even send you notifications, newsletters, all that stuff, and you'll get the update and some free games. Sometimes you get some pretty good stuff too, some pretty darn good stuff out there. I got Battlefield 3. I got some other stuff out there. So every once in a while,
the game that nobody wanted.
Yeah, exactly. You know, sometimes they might be old, but they're old, but they're good. So GamerPower.com.
Yeah, they're Goldie oldies.
Yeah. Promo code, fake promo code, by the way, Johnny. Freeload. That's the fake promo code. Type that into whatever the hell you want, and maybe you'll get something. So,
are we doing one for Andrew in absentia?
Well, you can do yours, and then we'll see if Johnny can come up with something on the spot. This is the improv section of the show that we mentioned.
Oh man,
you could be Johnny on the spot, right?
Yeah.
Fellas, in this world, it's very important for all kinds of self-care. Last couple weeks, my self-care might be food, it might be video gaming, it might be seeing una película, it might be marathoning and finishing the Nickelodeon 2012 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which was still a good run, or even redoing My Hero Academia. But I gotta look in the mirror sometimes, because I've been working at the home, since we kind of doing this remodeling at the office. There's no need to go for court appearances in person for me, and everything's via Zoom. And the way my camera goes for my laptop is you don't really get to see all of me. I just make sure to shave the face a little bit so I don't look like some Russian dictator that comes in, because the last time I did grow the facial hair was interesting. I do miss the cop mustache though, I gotta tell you. But my hair was borderline Gordon Gekko Wall Street look, that if I slicked it back any further on court days, I should have just bought suspenders and just it would just been I would have been a walking stereotype. So I was like, I gotta go get a haircut. Right, I gotta go get a haircut. I go to a particular place I've been going for the last couple of years. You develop loyalty, you develop bond, you develop safe understanding assurance, and when they know what kind of haircut you have to do, it's perfect. But my problem is I'm a barbershop whore, guys. I'll go to the same place, but whoever is available. I hate calling for stuff ahead of time. I don't have a consistent schedule like that. So I've been spurned a little bit the last couple of times. I'll remain anonymous on the person prior, but maybe they're, a little bit too conversational. They take a little bit too short off the top. So when I kind of slick it back, I look like the little kid from Big Daddy. No, My Little Vampire, whatever it is. John Lipnicki, my hair going into it. And I'm very self-conscious because to look good, you got to feel good, you got to look good. But I went to my barbershop, gentleman's barbershop. I don't know if I think they have like an Instagram or something like that, but I'll give them the straight up love right there. And Glenn, you did my hair so good. You did my hair so good. One half on the sides and the back. Enough clipping on the top, but good enough to comb over on the side and slick it back.
What's the location?
Gentleman's Barbershop or Gentleman's Barber. It's where I live in Martin County.
All right.
I don't know if it's establishment like a franchise or whatever, but instead of ladies and gentlemen of the world, don't debase yourself by going to the hair cuttery. Death before dishonor. You don't deserve some rookie who just literally came out of the office to cut your hair. Just get the guy who has the Crisco and just shave your head like I used to do when I was a kid at 13. But you gotta look the part, you gotta be a part professionally, but you just feel good sometimes. Glenn, you did an outstanding job. Because last couple of times I was a little down and south, but I feel good. I look at that mirror, I'm like, oh yeah, look at myself. I'm like, I'll be my own Valentine's Day. I'm a little cutie with this haircut. So I appreciate you, Glenn. I appreciate you, gentleman barber. I think Jay still gave me the best one ever for Ross's wedding because damn it, that shine was perfect. But you know what? It's that self-love that comes in, and you need somebody who can handle the tools, man. Anybody can be an artist, but not everybody can paint the Mona Lisa. And I, right here, folks, I won't say I'm the Mona Lisa. That's a little arrogant. But I'm the Sistine Chapel, and you need to put a little Tim and care in there. So my non-sponsor, Gentleman's Barber, where I live. For anybody, go get a haircut. But for the love of God, don't go to hair cuttery because it's always somebody who's not ready, and then they screw up and they clip the side of your hair. I remember one time I had a haircut, and I was wearing a hat, and I told the lady, I have hat hair. Be gentle. Man, she effed it up so badly. Oh, God. Gentleman's Barber, promo code, fresh. We'll go fresh. So fresh and so clean. There you go. Stay fresh. Exactly.
Friday's non-sponsor is J. Crew Factory. Look at that.
Now I have to research J. Crew Factory.
You don't know? You don't know? No, he's styling. He is styling right now.
I'm weird, man. We just gave this whole thing about cheap. You think I wear fancy clothes sometimes?
Okay. So there you go, J. Crew Factory. They had a fantastic sale this week. Look at sales, Charles. There are sales.
I love sales.
Okay, you are a cheap man. You look for all the bargains. So there you go.
So Freddie, is this a better version of Macy's? Because Macy's is just too damn expensive. When I get a good discount tie there, it's there. But I'm looking at this. I don't need anything yet, but your boy can always use a kind of a little bit casual, professional kind of look. A little bit more short sleeves dress up. I can never find good shoes. Oh, okay. Maybe I'll complete my transition to being like that mid-range 35, 40-year-old man who just wants to talk about back in the days. I'm ready. I'll look into them. If I could order online.
He got some shorts with some lobsters on them. You can't beat that. Sounds.
I love me some funky socks, you guys. Like I got Rugrat socks and pizza socks as a gift, so
yeah,
go from there.
Yeah, when we're wearing suits, you gotta have some personality in there. We can't really. Gotta work with the tie or the socks. So the only two things we can kind of splurge on.
I have seen some tie clips that are
really?
Pop culture reference. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's cute. I have a Daredevil tie clip.
Oh.
That I wear for court. So it was like the best thing I get to see with like a respondent. It was like, who's this jagoff? I'm like, it's me, Matt Murdock.
Johnny, do you have one? Do you have something you've been enjoying over the last week? You wanna give some love?
I do actually. So thought about it after being put on the spot, and we all like our collections, collecting the stuff we love, but we don't want to pay full price for them. So I'm going to plug a person who is, they started their own website off of it, the Jersey Finder.
Oh, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, I have a great jersey collection now, and it's still growing, and I hope it keeps growing, mostly because of him. I think I have about 29 hockey jerseys right now, with the 30th coming soon. It's I didn't spend a lot because he helps you just find great deals, and yeah, he started his own website off it. I snagged a $60 Hartford Whalers jersey off his website the other week. Like, oh man,
Charles,
it has really let my collection grow.
Charles, if you are ever gonna get a hockey jersey, this is where you go.
Can I get baseball jerseys? Because remember the endeavor of Charles needs his Yankee T-shirt or Yankee jersey as well. I'm assuming it is, or is it just for hockey?
I think
It looks like it's just for hockey.
He mainly, he specializes in mainly just hockey. I'm not sure if there's a baseball version of him, but yeah, I have almost 30 hockey jerseys, mainly because of the great deals he posts.
Yeah, look at that nice collection there. Get yourself a Gretzky one, Charles. It's only $350. It's authentic though.
Gordie Howe, I know those names.
Yeah, Sidney Crosby. How about that? How about a Sidney Crosby jersey? $140. All right.
I was gonna say I could send you a picture of the jersey collection if you want to flash that up.
Oh, yeah. I don't have many. Well, I have. How many Panthers jerseys I got? I got one practice red jersey, just for wearing around. I have the 2012 era white road jersey. I have the original 93 red jersey, and then I have the new current jersey, the red one of the Panthers. So that's what I have a Legend of Zelda hockey jersey as well. So,
that's
what?
Cool.
You haven't seen my Zelda jersey, Charles?
No, I have not.
You haven't seen? It's got the hero shield as the crest in the middle. It's got some Triforces in the back. It looks like Link's tunic from Zelda. It's got all the trimmings. Oh man, we will.
This goes into that conversation that we were gonna do for the different show, but Andrea's got back with weird sports memorabilia.
Oh yeah. Okay. I guess this is Andrew's non-sponsor. Let's just go with it. Let's go with the jersey theme. All right. Thanks, Johnny, for getting us on this train right here. We love this. All right, geekyjerseys.com. This is where I got my Zelda one, baby. All right, look at that. They got a Metroid themed one. Oh God. Oh boy.
I actually do like that Metroid one.
Yeah, they got all kinds of geeky stuff here. All right, you got a Ron Swanson one. That's perfect for you, Charles. Look at that one.
I do love me some Ron Swanson.
Okay. Got a bunch here. There's a ton. It's very geeky, and I think they're very. Oh, you got a Shredder one right there, Ninja Turtles. There you go. You got a Spaceballs one, if you like classic movies. Got a Lone Star right there. A Darth Vader one. They all got all kinds of stuff, man. This is the geeky stuff, like a Fallout one. What do you guys want to go? Games, movies, comics? What do you want to see here?
I mean, I'm a little bit of everything. If you saw my pop culture shirt collections I wear for the shirt, like right now I'm wearing one that is of Iron Man with the Tony Stark, but it says Billionaire Playboy Philanthropist Club. It's like his logo. So I love any of that stuff. I like the Bowser, Scary Terry from
Rick and Morty.
Not Freddy Krueger. Rick and Morty. I'm thinking Freddy Krueger, but they probably have that too. And they have Mike Myers right afterwards. Yeah. Take a peek. Since we've talked about video games, let's take a peek at video games, because if you have to do a good one, you have to make it so.
And the thing is that they're limited time. They can only make a few.
There's a Sonic one.
Oh no! Why did they put this now? These things are because they're custom made. They'll put your name and whatever number you want in the back of it. They're expensive, but man, are they of really high quality. Like super high. It's the best jersey that I have and everything. They got a Shadow Link one. I think this one's as close. Man. This is kind of what I have. This one right here. This
I'm on this site right now looking at for my own purposes.
Exactly.
I can see you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I can see you rocking the Helium one.
Except it's instead of the gold trim, it's got the silver trim. So that's what I have. And yeah, this is these are wonderful jerseys. Let's see what they look like with actual human beings wearing them. So there's a few of them. You got some celebrities in there. I think Kevin James orders from them. He always wears very geeky hockey jerseys. He's a hockey fan, of course, he's a nerd, like the rest of us. So you got all kinds of different. There it is. There's our good old buddy there. So I guess this guy's wearing a Pokemon one right here. Geeky jersey. That's Andrew's non-sponsor right there. Because I feel like Andrew would definitely.
Yeah, I'll have to check these out later for sure.
Yeah, I'm telling you, this is I found them back in like 2013, I would say, and both me and my sister got ourselves some Zelda jerseys. So both custom made. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. So it takes a while for them to get it to you. I think we ordered it took like 3 months or something just to get it.
Oh yeah, custom ones will always take a while.
Yeah. So
You guys, they have a damn Wire jersey.
Whoa,
The show The Wire on HBO,
Ooh,
which is a great show, by the way. That pseudo non-sponsor right there. Holy crap! I never thought I'd see something like that.
Yeah, they got TV, got others here, they got all kinds there, and so yeah, geeky jerseys, promo code nerds. All right. Okay, so that is it for. We're past the halfway point, guys. We can look at these jerseys forever. So let's move on here. So let's go into the second half of the league, Johnny. So we've already covered the Central, and which is basically the Southeast / Central Division, and the North, which is just the Canada Division. So we'll move on to the East. The Boston Bruins.
Yes, the gauntlet of the Mass Mutual East.
Yeah, Boston Bruins. Once more.
Yeah, I always sit here and like, oh, this is the year the Bruins are gonna fall off.
No.
This is the year the Bruins are gonna fall off.
Never happens.
No, they managed to hold themselves out long enough for Pasternak to come back. Their offense was a little slow to start without him, and they held on long enough. Tuukka Rask is still Tuukka Rask. I mean, there were some questions on the back end with them letting Torrey Krug leave, with them letting Zdeno Chara leave. That leadership, that you lose with Zdeno Chara, even if he's not playing the minutes he used to, that presence in the locker room still means something to them. And for them to mitigate how much they did and still look like the Boston Bruins, what is it with New England sports that they're just always seem to be competitive now, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah, they're top 6 on both sides of special teams, so they'll kill you on either way, penalty kill or on the power play. They have a killer top line. You got Pasta, you got Patrice, you got Marchand. They just don't go away. They just don't go away. Next, Philadelphia.
Philly was my pick to win the division.
They've had a good start. They've had some shaky games here and there, and COVID's gonna test them right now because they're like out for like a week or something at this point.
Yeah, they had a couple players test positive, and I mean that's a concern in that locker room with Oscar Lindblom just coming back from his cancer treatments. Now he's cancer free, but those treatments still could take a toll, and I don't know if he's still considered high risk or not, but that's always a concern in that locker room. And I mean, they have great young goaltending in Carter Hart, and I mean, Giroux's kind of falling off, but
he's the leader.
There seems to be like the young core of. Yeah, exactly. You have Konechny stepping up. You have Joel Farabee stepping up. You have Lindblom steps up. I mean, you have the comeback of Nolan Patrick, and they have a lot of pieces, good depth. They're
JVR's having a good season so far.
Yeah, and I had Kevin Hayes, who I thought was a bit of a weird contract, but he's living up to it somehow. And yeah, I mean, Ivan Provorov on defense is phenomenal. They have, South Florida native Shane Gostisbehere.
Ghost.
I think they're my team to beat in the division, and I hope this pause doesn't really hurt them that much.
I mean, either it's going to be the pause or it's the truncated schedule following the pause, because now they'll have back-to-backs, less days off. We'll see. We'll see if they can get through the gauntlet after that. The Washington Capitals.
Ovi gonna Ovi?
Yeah, yeah. Ovechkin's gonna be Ovechkin. We all know this.
He's in his office. What do you?
Exactly. A lot of
He's in his
age on the
office. He's in a
team.
meeting.
A lot of age on the team. They signed a bunch of old guys, but sure. COVID delays, absences throughout. But once they get healthy, get going, they'll be fine.
They'll be fine. I think.
Capitals.
You got Tom Wilson stepping up in a big way.
Mm-hmm.
You have, I mean, Backstrom is always going to be one of the best passers in the league. I mean, him and Huberdeau for me are like the best passers in the league. You have Ovechkin, who's always going to be Ovechkin, it seems, and I hope he breaks Gretzky's goal record eventually.
I've debated this with Andrew. It's really hard now with these shortened season things.
Yeah.
Like, that's just less time for him to do it.
If he does it, it's even more fucking incredible.
Yeah. Oh no, that's
like it's even more. I hope he does. And I mean, you got John Carlson. I mean, he's their Keith Yandel. He doesn't do defense, but he drives the offense a lot.
Does it make people pull out their hair more than Yandel? I don't know. That was the huge controversy with the Panthers this year. Keith Yandel, the streak. And
I like Yandel.
I like Yandel's personality. Love him. All that stuff. But if he starts sucking, and look,
you just need to put Yandel with a babysitter.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what Radko Gudas has been.
Thank you for that, especially. But yeah. But Yandel with another offensive defenseman, it's just a disaster.
Exactly.
We've seen it happen. So, but aside from that, and the moment he starts sucking, and it's better to sit him than to play him. Please sit him. All right. This is not the hockey equivalent of Cal Ripken Jr. It's okay to sit this man down at this point. We're not destroying a Hall of Fame career when that happens. All right, New York Islanders.
Next.
Semyon Varlamov having some very good numbers so far this season. 1.98 goals against average, 929 save percentage. Offense needs to pick up a bit. But defense and Hammer keeping the Isles in this. Pittsburgh Penguins, another drama team. Jim Rutherford just suddenly resigning. They've got Brian Burke is back in the league, everybody. Hey, he's the new president of hockey operations. And this is really... I asked, my brother-in-law is a Penguins fan. And he never got back to me about this. I'll have to talk to him personally about it. I asked him, how did it feel to have Ron Hextall as your GM? It's like... It's weird for me. It's because he's with the Flyers all those years and the Penguins and the Flyers rivalry. I told Charles, he's a New York Yankees fan. It's like having David Ortiz as your GM. It's just like the guy that epitomizes that rival, and he's now your... Well, maybe it was Lindros that was the GM, maybe more so. But either way, it's Hextall. Okay.
I think Hextall's a great GM. A lot of those pieces that I talked about in Philly were his picks.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually wanted him myself for the Panthers this offseason. He was actually who I wanted. And I think him and Burke can really change the game around, because Burke has such... As much as I hate the old hockey man stereotype that exists,
yeah,
Burke isn't that, despite his age. A lot of guys were always hesitant to, draft soft Euro players, but he wanted the Sedins, and look what the Sedins did. He loved his European players, and he loved scouting places people weren't looking.
Yeah, look at his the lone cup winner that he had in Anaheim. He had Europeans on there. Your Timu and stuff like that, so it's not anything new for him. So
exactly.
Next, the New York Rangers. Their two rookies have been pretty invisible so far. Kako and Lafreniere.
The Rangers are my second team. I grew up in New York. My cousins are big Rangers fans. So that kind of, especially with the Panthers missing the playoffs every year, I'd always fall back on the Rangers and Henrik Lundqvist. And it's really weird not seeing Henrik Lundqvist in net. But I think Igor Shesterkin and Alexander Georgiev are good successors to what Lundqvist was and what he and they'll carry the team in the future. But they're only in year 2 of what should have been a rebuild. I mean, not every rookie comes in and is McDavid and is an immediate impact, and it's okay for Lafreniere to underperform, especially without getting the preseason.
Look at Hughes in New Jersey. He didn't have that great of a first year, but he's having a bounce back sophomore year at this point. So it's, a lot of people. It's really hard. I get it. You're a top 5 draft pick, or especially number 1 draft pick, and everybody's ready to either crown you the greatest thing ever or label you a bust. It's really hard.
You don't draft a player for his 18th season. Yeah. Like that's you wait, and it's patience. And I mean, him coming to the New York Rangers, it's a culture shock for a kid. He's 18. Like it's a culture shock. He's coming over from Canada, and he's trying to learn his teammates, learn the system, learn everything, learn a new way of life, and it can be overwhelming. And I think we could see a surge from him maybe in the later half of the season, but I think it's in their best interest to not make the playoffs anyway and let these guys just get the time they need to develop it. And I think that's an issue that David Quinn, their coach, is not doing, and I don't think he's playing them in their best opportunities to succeed.
Next, the New Jersey Devils. So they've got 10 points in 9 games at this point. I already mentioned Hughes having a bounce back year. Their defense is great. They have a lack of offense that's holding them back. They have games in hand at this point, and maybe something can get something going if you can rattle off some wins against like the Sabres or even the Rangers, get a few upsets here and there. But
yeah, and again, this is another team that's been hurt by pausing.
Yeah.
And I think they're just now coming back.
Yeah.
They have some offensive pieces. I mean,
I told Charles that the overarching theme of the first month of the NHL is the virus. It's creating pauses for everybody. It's really hard to... Well, for some teams, it's not that hard to gauge what they are. But for others, it's like they haven't done or played enough or played consistently enough for you to kind of get a handle on what they really are at this point.
Yeah, and they have a lot of pieces I like. I think Mackenzie Blackwood is definitely their future in net. I mean, it hurt them that Corey Crawford decided to retire right before the season. But I mean, with his injury history, I'm happy he decided to pick life after hockey over extending his career more.
He's done enough. He's
exactly. He's done enough. He has nothing left to prove. Just take care of your health. And they have a rookie that I'm really excited about in New Jersey, Igor Sharangovich. I watched him a lot in the KHL. He was playing over in Belarus for Dynamo Minsk. The Panthers have a defensive prospect there, Vladislav Kolyachina, drafted not this last draft season, but the year before in the second round. And I think he's going to be a great Panther defenseman in the future, and I really like his game. And Sharangovich played with him, and man, this kid has some speed. He has such, like, not Connor McDavid level speed, but he still has that control of the puck at such a high speed. And he's so fun to watch. And I drafted him in fantasy because I knew no one else knew who he was. So I was just like, let me just draft this rookie. So I was just having fun with all the rookies, and he's been a really fun one to watch.
I'll have a question for you at the end about, since you basically have a bunch of rookies as your fantasy team, who your Calder favorite will be in the end of all this. So
who are getting hockey besos, as I would say.
Well, no, just like his Rookie of the Year. That's the Calder.
Okay.
Yeah, the trophy award there. All right.
Ooh, I can tell you we get to the team.
Oh, well, Buffalo Sabres now. Of course they're in last place. It's Buffalo.
Yeah. I don't know why Taylor Hall signed there.
It was... Okay, this is my prediction. It was one of those those show me contracts, whatever, just 1 year, almost like I don't even know, Andre Dawson when he had that blank check contract. He was like, just sign me to anything. He gambled. He gambled on the 1 year contract. It might have backfired because he's been noticeably absent to start the season, and if he can't do enough, then I'm sure Buffalo is going to flip him when they get a chance for anything at this point, even if he's
That's
awful.
what I think they wanted to do. I think they wanted to take Taylor Hall, play him alongside Jack Eichel, and give them that dynamic duo status, and pay him whatever he wants. Just get him in the building, get him to play with Jack Eichel, then
prove to Jack Eichel. Prove to Jack Eichel, look, we do care about surrounding you with talent. For 1 year.
And then flip him at the deadline for everything you can get and continue this rebuild that they need to continue.
Never-ending rebuild for Buffalo.
It's been 10 years since they've made the playoffs. I mean, at least we're not the Sabres, and I feel so bad for Jack Eichel. They need to get rid of Rasmus Ristolainen. Dahlin's had some real rough patches in his growth, and he seems to be putting it a little bit back together this year, but another team affected by the pause. It went all the way. They had a breakout so bad it went all the way to their coach, Ralph Kruger, and I was very worried. I think he's 66 years old, but from what I've heard, he's back at practice and he's with the team, and so it all sounds good on that front with him, and that I'm very happy he's good.
All right, so that's the Buffalo Sabres. They're in last place. They got a -4 goal differential, and not looking good on the convince Jack Eichel to stay front right now at this point. All right, next, the last division here, the Honda, of course it's sponsored by Honda West Division, which includes the team that I felt was a cup contender, was going to hoist the Stanley Cup at the end, the Colorado Avalanche. That was my pick before the season.
That was mine too.
Yeah, let's get into it. So we got the as of now in first place for this division are the Vegas Golden Knights. All around built to win, all around good team, outscoring teams in the third period by a ton to close out games. High tempo hockey, and Marc-Andre Fleury, who recently I think he was the second star of this past week for the Golden Knights, for the NHL, really. Lehner's injured, and Marc-Andre Fleury is showing everybody, look, I'm not dead yet, all right? Don't, okay, let me just have a one good season. I'll be, you'll ship me off to Seattle after this, and I'll be another guy that will be the John Van Beesbrook 2.0 here. So,
I had Fleury done after last season. I didn't think he was going to bounce back because, again, goalies just hit the wall all at once sometimes, and he had a real rough season. And at his age, you don't bounce back. The injury to Robin Lehner is unfortunate. I like Lehner a lot. In my opinion, he is top 3 goalie in the NHL, and he is who I wanted over Bobrovsky. And I was very sad. We could have gotten him so much cheaper. He signed a nice friendly deal for what he brings, and I wanted him, and then they've had to restructure their top line with I knew William Karlsson was gonna regress from the initial first season of Vegas because his shooting percentage was through the roof and it was absolutely unsustainable.
There's a lot of luck there.
I think in their first season I counted them out every step of the way because they were powered by spite. Spite was only going to get them so far. They played over their level, I thought, because they all felt scorned that they were ditched by their current teams, and since then they've done great at adding. I mean, Mark Stone is the best defensive winger in the NHL because not a lot of wingers play defense. And he's really bolstered that team and what he brings. And, I mean, Pacioretty still has his scoring touch. And, I mean, Marchessault's still starting stuff with the kids on Twitter and Instagram. And
but Vegas still a good team. They just recently beat the Colorado Avalanche in a very good game that I saw between the two. That was a fine game. It was a shutout for Marc-Andre Fleury, which is just like, wow. This guy's still doing this? Really? He's still alive? Yeah, he is. He's still doing this thing A little mini renaissance here for MAF here. Next, the Colorado Avalanche. My cup pick, as I told you, Cale Makar is a revelation to me as well.
Yeah, my cup pick. I had the first overall pick in my fantasy draft. I took Nathan McKinnon. I think I thought the West was really top heavy, and they could take advantage of those bottom feeding teams in the division.
Basically, 3 teams, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly. And I felt like this is. I don't know if they were necessarily going to win the division, but I think in the best of 7, they're going to be more prepared.
I told this. I wrote this on our group chat. It's going to be a real shame that 2 of these teams are not going to make it out. It's going to be a real shame between St. Louis, Vegas, and Colorado. Because one of them's not going to make it out, and they should be in the Final Four. One of these teams, and it's going to be a real shame. A real shame that maybe Colorado loses, and it's like, oh, Colorado, you guys just can't get there, can ya? That's what
they lost McKinnon for a little bit to injury. They got hit by the COVID pause. Ransonen's a great passer. Cal Makar has been a resurgence, and they're going to be dominant for so many years. There are prospects that still haven't even reached the league.
Joe Sakic just is good at everything.
Oh my God, they're prospects that aren't even in the league yet. Alex Newhook, and there's so many players that they have. And we saw Bowen Byram step in, and it's crazy. They have Sam Girard, who is such a great young defenseman, and he's just overshadowed by all these other players, and it's so crazy. They're going to be a force for years.
Next, the St. Louis Blues.
Oh boy,
high-powered offense. They can't deny that. They're one of the top scoring teams in the league.
They're scoring it all without Tarasenko too, which is very impressive. And they lost Alex Pietrangelo in the offseason, who was a very big power play guy for them. Colton Parayko, who I think is another one of the best defensemen in the league. He's having a bit of a down year, and they're still managing to be okay as long as they can mitigate long enough for him to get back on track. Goaltending, I don't know. Bennington just has these stretches where he's very questionable.
Is he the next Cam Ward?
he honestly might be.
Yeah, there may be. He might just be riding on that cup win for the rest of his career. Who knows? So far, and once again, this is another theme. We haven't been able to gauge everything. Some teams haven't even faced each other so far.
Yeah.
Or they've only faced each other so little. Like, they've only played, I think, 3 games between them and either Vegas or Colorado. It doesn't say much.
Yeah, I was going to say, we'll make an assumption that the next team we'll go over is the Arizona Coyotes. They just finished playing each other 7 times. Yeah. Almost half their games. They played 15 and 16 games, and they played 7 against each other.
The Coyotes hung with the Blues there.
The Coyotes won the series 4-3 technically.
So that's even though maybe internally the Coyotes are falling apart because Katie Strang came out with an athletic article that just shows how utterly disastrous the Coyotes are internally, ever since this new ownership that they have started, which.
And they were trying to trade away Oliver Ekman-Larsson in the offseason, and everyone was basically for sale, but they've had an emergence of young players like Connor Garland, Clayton Keller. They need Phil Kessel to get his scoring touch back.
I'm sure if Andrew was here, he would ask this question. So I have this, I want to see what you think of it. I have this wild idea. Maybe not too wild in the grand scheme of the NHL because it's been something that's been done before. But I thought of, what if the NHL, instead of contracting, what have you, merged the Arizona Coyotes with the Florida Panthers? Meaning, we get the best of both worlds with their best players. We might have
double the disappointment.
I'm just saying, you get all the young prospects, all the goodies that you love, and we get all the best of the best from them. We just ship off all the dead weight. So we get from both franchises. you fizzle away Arizona. Things didn't work out in the desert over there. Yeah, you make everybody else happy. NHL's Seattle's 31 team now, and so you get a 32nd team. You get some of that expansion draft or expansion money from a group that wants to put a team in, I don't know, Houston or Quebec, whatever the hell you want. And you have a bolstered Florida Panthers franchise in Sunrise with Oliver Ekman-Larsson, with Aaron Ekblad. Just imagine if that were to happen. Okay.
Yeah, just all the Panthers offense with Aaron Ekblad, the Coyotes defense, and the Coyotes goaltending.
The best of both. And you suddenly have one less problem franchise for the NHL, so we can stop hearing people talk about relocation. That's my wild idea. And the NHL has done this before. They did it with the Minnesota North Stars when they merged them with like the Cleveland Barons or what have you. It's been done before. So just to say, and it saved the North Stars for at least another decade when that happened. So, and they made a couple Stanley Cup Finals as well. So it's not that wild of an idea. I'm just saying you could do a modern version of it. It's pandemic time. Let's get weird with it. Come on.
I feel bad for Arizona and the fact that next year they'll be in the Central, which is a lot more stacked than the Pacific.
Yeah, and not easy for them travel wise either. I feel like they're building them to fail at this point. It's almost like they're preemptively getting ready for them to move to Houston. Because I could see that. Oh, you put them in the Central already? Okay. Yeah. A natural rival for Dallas right there. Houston and Dallas. They're already in the Central. Boom.
And I don't want to see anyone lose their team.
No. I mean, because we hear it all the time.
Especially as Panthers fans, we know how it feels to have it held over your head. And I hope they keep that team.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with it, but I'm just... That's my wild idea, just to throw it out there. But okay.
I mean, it's a very real possibility, unfortunately.
So the Coyotes, there you go. The Minnesota Wild. They got the worst power play in the league.
Yes, this is why we call them the Minnesota Mild, because you're just whelmed by them. Yeah. They don't have a lot to deal with, and another team dealing with the COVID outbreak. Yep. Common theme here. They have some pieces.
They have good pieces. They don't have great pieces, it seems.
See,
Going to the mild theme right there, you know.
They have 1.5 good pieces.
You're not putting that on your chalupa, Charles.
No, I'm not putting that on my chalupa.
2.5 good pieces.
Yeah, okay.
I like Jared Spurgeon on defense. I think he's a great defenseman. Quarterbacks a power play, can break up plays in the defensive zone, not a liability. You have, I don't know if Kevin Fiala is for real yet. He had a great season he went from nothing, like quiet, nothing, to a great season to, we'll see this season if he's for real. Mm-hmm. And then you have my Calder nomination, who I think would win the Calder Trophy this year, Kirill Kaprizov.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
He has been so good on that team with no help. There is no help on that team for him, and I think he started off playing the season with Nick Bjugstad.
Oh, that's right. Bugey went back home. That's right.
Yeah. So obviously, I hope Bugey has a rejuvenation season in his hometown from Minnesota, but that's really all the pieces they have. Matt Zuccarello is injured, and they signed him to an albatross contract. Their goaltending is questionable, bringing in Cam Talbot, and then their backup is still. God, I don't even remember who their backup is now.
Yeah, I can't recall either. Well, Minnesota Mild. That's basically the theme. Sylvain and Varis, of course.
If Kaprizov isn't on the ice, they're not that fun to watch. If Kaprizov is on the ice, they're very fun to watch.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's 3 California teams. Anaheim, the Ducks. Basically, Anaheim, John Gibson and Ryan Miller.
Yeah, John Gibson and his band of merry men.
Yeah.
They're going rebuild. We all know they're going rebuild. The Pacific is weak, so they're still winning games. I'd like to see them call up Trevor Zegras from San Diego. because he was very fun of the World Juniors to watch. He's a very skilled player. Just let him get the time. Like, you have nothing else to play for. Let him get the time.
Mm-hmm.
I maybe they're wary of
I think
burning off a year of his contract.
that could be one thing. Maybe the Ducks. I don't know if they want to compete. I mean, Gibson's sure as hell trying to get them to compete just by his play alone. I don't know if they want to be get into the playoffs by virtue of being the best of the worst teams in the West, because nobody's getting past Colorado, St. Louis, and Vegas. And just be number 4 by default at this point. And maybe Gibson gets them there, and if he does, he should win the Vezina, because that would be a very Herculean effort on his part. And I mean, if
they make the playoffs, give him the heart. Like,
that's true. Give them both. Was it? Carey Price? Did he get both?
I believe he did.
Okay, yeah, I think he did. Yeah, there you go. Los Angeles, the Kings.
Just tank more, please. Just trade quick if you think you can get something for him. Trade Kopitar if you think you can get something for him.
Kopitar's having
You're
a
not
good
trading.
season. I mean, it would be one of those like, but it would be very symbolic because it signifies to all of the LA Kings fans, it's over. It's time to start over. Come on now.
They're doing this half-assed rebuild. Just do it.
That's what I mean. Just trade one of these guys that symbolize those 2 cup victories.
Tell Kopitar you respect the hell out of him. Tell Quick you respect the hell out of him.
I want to see you go off and win someplace else.
Ask them where they think they have the best chance. Let them give you a list, and give them one last kick at the can.
Yeah.
And tank this year, especially. I mean, you need to get rid of Drew Doughty just because of that contract. He's not playing up to it. No team's going to take it though. Yeah. But this coming draft season is packed full of great defensemen or great defensive prospects. This is the year of defense in the draft. Defense wins championships. LA loves defense. Mm-hmm. Alec Martinez scoring on Henrik Lundqvist in double overtime to win the cup still haunts my dreams every night. This is the year to tank if you want defense.
Martinez, that's Doc Cup. Yeah, Doc Emmerich. And the worst. They are the worst team at even strength right now. They are suffering injuries. And, LA you're not going to beat Ottawa at this point, but you can try to get that second. Say, it's a lottery. It's a lottery. You never know. So, NHLs want to give it to... I can't say that it's rigged because they're ping pong balls, but still... There are feelings like, oh, come on, the New York Rangers got the number 1 pick. Really, NHL? Come on now. I know you're a Rangers fan, Johnny, but still.
Yeah, it's okay.
Still, you guys didn't deserve it.
I mean, hey, did you see the replay? The Rangers ball knocked the Leaf ball out of there.
Oh, well, yeah, that would have been really, really awful if that had happened. Okay, and finally, the San Jose Sharks, who have yet to play a home game. But they got a nice guy named Mario out there. Mario Ferraro. Mamma mia.
Is he a Super Mario?
No. He is definitely not Super Mario because there's only one Super Mario in the NHL.
Yes. The best player of all time, Mario Lemieux.
Yeah. So, UMass. So we have one guy, BU, Mr. Canada. You might have seen him comment there. He's all about college hockey. So he's up there in your prospects. Lining up there. He's of course BU. You understand what that means, Boston University.
Of course.
That's who he's about. And when the bean pot comes on over, we always like to get some of that insight right there from him. But this is a UMass guy, defensive partner of Makar as well. So he's making a case as a fixture, top pairing for the Sharks at this point. I mean, the Sharks are in a rebuild, right? They might as well be.
Sharks.
All of California is in a rebuild.
If Panthers fans want to get mad at Bobrovsky, just be glad we don't have Martin Jones or Devin Dubnyk because they are the worst goalie tandem in the NHL. Mm-hmm. And Bob Bugner is pulling his hair out over there coaching that team because, oh boy, he called out Martin Jones the other day. And Erik Karlsson has half an ankle left, and that contract is probably worse than Bobrovsky's.
Yeah.
I mean, somehow there's a contract worse than Bobrovsky's, and it's Erik Karlsson's. And they might need to trade some players. They give Couture another kick at the cup. I mean, I don't know if they see Timo Meyer or Tomas Hertl in their window if they rebuild. I don't know how long they see their rebuild taking, because you never know.
Yeah.
And if you can get something for these guys now, you get something for these guys now.
I find it very difficult to rebuild in this stage with Colorado. Colorado's not going anywhere. Vegas has got this window open at this moment, and so, well, let's see. Let's think about the division going into the future, not this weird sponsored division thing that they're doing right now. So in the Pacific Division, the normal Pacific Division, so you got Vancouver, Calgary, the 3 California teams, Arizona's moving out, and Vegas, and Edmonton.
It should be an easy win for Vegas every year for the foreseeable future in the Pacific.
The Sharks can start a rebuild and wait it out for Vegas and then move on from there, like maybe say 4 seasons from now. So if they can, if they really need to get rid of any pieces they have at this moment that have any sort of value and get this moving at this point. Because the Sharks aren't a bad team. They don't have bad ownership. They can turn it around pretty quickly if they have smart hockey people. They've done pretty well in their franchise history with regards to competing. So I don't see them being down and out in a perpetual rebuild. So
yeah.
So it's just do it, San Jose. All of California under construction, please.
Exactly. Just call quits right now.
After so many years of the 3 California teams basically being fixtures, it's time for all of them at this point. And yeah, Johnny, we've gone through all of the NHL in the first month. Yay!
We did it. That was a doozy.
Yeah, no, this has been fun. I needed this refresh, to be honest, because I've just been following the Panthers and watching the games and stuff like that. And because there's no interdivision play, just interdivision play, you don't really have to care about the other teams for now. So you just have to care about making those top 4 spots, and you're golden. And that's all I cared about. Because sometimes I would watch scores, like the score crawl right now on the bottom, and I'm like, oh, okay. Who's a team that's normally in our division? Boston. I'm like, Boston got a point today. It's like, wait, I don't have to care about Boston this year. So
yeah, it's definitely weird. Especially, I mean, I'm hockey 24/7. I eat, sleep, and breathe hockey. I'm always looking at hockey stats, analytics, what you name it. If I'm watching a KHL game, I'm always knee deep in hockey, and it's just ingrained in my brain at this point of everything going on. And I'm never not doing something hockey related on my phone, at work, or always.
Well then, all right, Johnny. Well, I'll give you the option. If you want to stay for our last segment here, it's the Cage with Charles, where Charles takes us on a journey through the world of wrestling over the last week. If you want to, you can stick around. If not, we can say goodbye. Well, it's up to you. It's up to you right here.
You know what? This is my refresher course for the WWE after I not watched it for so long. And
okay then, Charles, press pause on. I'm assuming you're playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I'm assuming.
I was playing Smash.
Oh, okay, that was a surprise.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
I can't play story games while we do the show. It would not compute well. I would have to listen to everything like that. So I love me some fresh meat, Johnny. I'm just going to tell you that right now, because when you enter the cage, I don't think you're ready for it. But I'm going to go for it anyway. Welcome, everybody, to your weekly Truplex, The Cage with Charles. Full disclaimer and full disclosure, wrestling is not fake. It is scripted. It's a stage fight. It is a story about men and women being the holy hell out of each other for championships. It's a story about just people not liking each other. They got some bad blood between them, or just they enjoy the hurt. But wrestling is also a little bit of a soap opera, a dance, a little bit of a poetry, emotion, whatever you consider it to be. Wrestling can be a nice special place. And also, it's a return. I was that ex. I was the ugly duckling syndrome. And now I'm back, because that's how we got Johnny back here. Forget about me. I ain't never forget about you. I got into shape. I got my hair done. I fixed my teeth. I got some makeup. I'm ready for you, baby. I'm ready for you. Lots of stuff happened in wrestling, guys, and too much is happening in wrestling. I failed you. I failed this segment. How dare I? Because I don't think I did. How dare I Francisco. Forgot to mention there was an NXT TakeOver pay-per-view.
Yeah, you talked about an event that's happening like 3 weeks from now.
Oh my God! Yeah, I was talking about Elimination Chamber because I was so focused on that card, and I forgot that TakeOver was the weekend on Valentine's Day and NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day. But also, we talked about another wrestling. It was New Beginning Hiroshima, New Japan Wrestling, because that's right, Johnny. I've learned. I'm experienced. I went above my love for WWE. I had to get my movements in there, and I know all about that Impact Wrestling, formerly known as TNA. I know about that AEW Elite Wrestling, sponsored by Cody Rhodes, son of Dusty Rhodes, and the Young Bucks and Bullet Club. I'm also in Japan now. I'm a weeb completely. But they had their pay per view, and Francisco was hyping up a little bit. What was the match I was looking into? I was looking into a little about Kota Ibushi versus Sonata. It was fine. I watched a little bit of the highlights of it. They're finally doing it. I'm gonna tell on this because there's a twofold I gotta go on WWE. They're finally doing it. They're finally splitting the damn titles. I'm so happy because Kota for Johnny's background for everybody else. Kota was both the IWGP Heavyweight Champion and then the IWGP Intercontinental Champion because he was basically Kota two belts at that point. He's now the wrestling god who comes with God. I don't know if Kami-sama, I guess is the way I would say it. Ooh, look at that! Been watching too much My Hero Academia, but So at the end of the match, after it had finished with him versus Sonata, this Sonata stablemate of Los Ingobernables de Japón, Tetsuya Naito, who I'm a big fan of, came out and said he was challenging for a title, but he didn't want the heavyweight title. He wanted the Intercontinental title. So how it goes in ranking, Johnny, as you are probably familiar, there's always the main event title, the mid-card title, the lower card title. The IC title would probably, I would say a year ago, it was the second title of the industry, but the number open weight has kind of taken over because Naito was originally the one who combined the two belts together. And so his storyline of why he's chasing the Intercontinental title instead of the heavyweight title is because he wants to properly retire it or properly end it because it's an obsession with him. And I think it's stupid, but I'm going to watch it because the match is fine because I rather that you have a new young upstart or somebody who deserves that mid-card push, such as my boy Shingo Takagi, who's not really even an upstart these days, but he lost his never open heavyweight championship to Hiroshi Tanahashi. I think it makes sense sometimes you lose in one faction and go to another one, or even have Sonata challenge that, or Will Ospreay, who's doing nothing with the Empire because he's just feuding with old guys, and Okada's going to be over in AEW. Oh, did Charles just bring it all together? In a second. But so yeah, Kota wins, probably going to lose the belt. I wouldn't even have him lose the belt to Naito. I think what he should do is defend that IC title, get that one victorious win, and then lose it to the next challenger. But what do I know? I'm part of the ball sack with Vince McMahon, not with the people who run over New Japan, unfortunately. But who knows? Maybe they'll hire me. Speaking of Kazuka Okada in New Japan, as you all know, the Forbidden Door has been opened. You have many cross-promotional things of everything wrestling that isn't WWE. You have AEW, you have Impact, you have NWA, which is probably a dying breed at this point, aside from Thunder Rosa appearing on Dynamite. However, Kazuchika Okada, big name. Which you guys, when I say Kazuchika Okada to you guys, your WWE equivalent should be The Rock.
Oh.
That's how big of a I wouldn't even say it was The Rock because The Rock never really defended the championship as well and as long as Kazuchika Okada over in Japan. I don't want to say he's John Cena because John had to be planted as the face, but he's definitely that guy who had that long reign thing. Hell, would I say it's improper to venture Kazuchika Okada in the form of talent in New Japan Wrestling? And I'll send you some highlights if I get them. I'll find them on the YouTube. Is he really an HBK Shawn Michaels circa 1996, 1997? I might say so. A pure of talent, storytelling, not athleticism. I think Shawn had his own thing back then. You can't compare ours sometimes. But Okada's a big name. So he's going to be part of the Forbidden Door opening. He's going to appear on AEW. I don't know who I want to feud with, but everybody wants him to go against Kenny. Kenny Omega is the current AEW Dynamite, or not Dynamite, but AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Basically, Kenny got his claim to fame for his feud with Okada back in 2017, where they had a battle 3 times. Okada beat him twice, I believe. No, 1 time. They went to draw, and then Kenny finally broke Okada's long 600-day long reign, I believe. So they might revisit that rivalry. Maybe you give me some new upstarts versus Okada. Maybe do I get Adam Hangman Page versus Okada? Maybe because it's a different Hangman, even though they probably put horns together in New Japan. But look at this man. He's the Rainmaker. His finisher is like a ripcord clothesline. He also does a spinning tombstone. Very weird. Very awesome. That's some swag right there. I'm a big proponent of him. And he wasn't really doing anything in New Japan anyway. So the fact that he can kind of put himself out there, because for so many years, the Wrestling Observer was saying, hey, this is like the best wrestler out there. Now you're going to put into the American world because New Japan doesn't really have that much, I would say, publicity in the United States that it needs, aside from the Roku channel. And if you have Amazon, guess what you're not watching? New Japan. I have Roku, but I'm kind of lazy now. Also, I would just get the New Japan World app for like the $10 a month. But I wish they just made it more user friendly. Digging up some things, AEW Dynamite, because we got to go talk about WWE, because I want to be brief, but I also want to be concise and succinct and also satisfying, unlike Vince McMahon. So going into other things about AEW Dynamite, they're doing the women's eliminator tournament for the number one contendership to challenge Hikaru Shida. We're going to see where that takes us. There's a lot of names. I don't know, but what I find interesting is they're doing it on a far side. They have one bracket from Japan, one bracket for the United States. So I think that could be something of interest that allow you to get some new faces in there, because the women's division in AEW Dynamite has not been bueno. Not really a big fan of it because of the lack of exposure. There's still too many multi-man tag matches. And even though I will say that, as is with some men's wrestling, the same thing goes for the women's division. Sometimes people are still too green, too raw. But if you want to make your claim to fame as being a competitor in WWE for being a better form for tag team wrestling, heavyweight wrestling, also you got to do for the women's division. Speaking of New Japan, they're going to be in the Forbidden Door because you have Juice Robinson and Dave Finlay showing up in Impact. Always fun for a thought. AEW, they're still kind of continuing the feuds and bringing together. I've talked to Francisco about this earlier, Johnny, but this is my concerns with it. I think sometimes if you do this big wrestling love fest orgy, you're going to kind of hurt the newer talents that are out there who might not get a chance to shine, because the most valuable thing in wrestling, I think I've said this before in the past when we were doing the 101, but I'm going to do this now. It's not about how many titles you hold, in my opinion. How much screen time are you given on a weekly event? Because if you're not on, and that was the problem Hikaru Shida in AEW, there were some weeks she wasn't on there. So if you're a champion or you're a performer or wrestler, whatever terminology you want to use, and you're not there for a substantial weekly show, segment, whatever, and there might be some good excuses here if you have an injury or, of course, the virus. But if you're not there because there's nothing being written for you, and now you're having these people who are from outside promotions coming in and stealing that spotlight, you're not going to have the chance to shine, because AEW has only been around for about a year now, year and change, and you're still developing and growing your stars for people to want to be supportive. Why? Because if you like the person, what do? You buy their merchandise. You watch them on the TV that you have weekly. You review their stuff that you have on Twitter, and do everything you can. Blog about it. Do all that fun stuff. But if they're not getting that exposure, and it's also other people who are not even in that promotion itself, who are you really benefiting? I would venture, and this is the hypocrisy about the wrestling community, because it's literally like a circle jerk of we hate everybody, but we love the people that we have. It's the same equivalent of them giving poo-poo to people who don't or like the fact that WWE will utilize veterans such as Goldberg to come back, or The Undertaker to come back and steal the spotlight of other people. So I kind of feel it's a little bit about that, but enough about AEW, enough about New Japan. There was a pay-per-view over the weekend, and there's a pay-per-view this weekend. Takeover Vengeance Day. Cute. It was on Valentine's Day, so with a little love, you get a little hate, right? It was damn good, boys. It was so damn good. Like, damn, it was good. Like, you ever went on a diet and it's your cheat day because you went on a diet for a wedding, and then you finally got to take that bite of that juicy burger, Wendy's, or that Crunchwrap Supreme, Taco Bell, other people that we love, please sponsor us. Follow us on Twitter, FJOJR, Dan Frijoles, Charles the True, Cats and Stats, Psycho Bacon, is that right? Did I get it?
Yes, Psycho.
Okay.
The Psycho Bacon?
Yeah, there we go. I the Psycho Bacon, almost
yeah,
there.
The Psycho Bacon.
But boys, it fluttered my heart in such ways. There was about 5 matches on the card. You had the finals in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Championship for the women's and for the men's. Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai won against Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart. And a very good match. The problem was I was eating said Taco Bell as I was watching it, so I couldn't necessarily. Oh, don't spoil it, Francisco. Don't go down. Okay. People got to know what's about to happen, because it was big about what happened at the end. It was a good match. Unfortunately, I was eating a Bacon Club Chalupa. So damn good. But it was still something that caught my attention. Kushida versus Johnny. I was like already there was some frothy foam at the tip because of how excited I was for this match. It started out a little slow, but man, it was good. It was for the North American Championship. Johnny retained. He retained clean. I am so shocked because for somebody who is Johnny Takeover, he loses all the damn time. I think he's been to like 13 takeovers, but he's only won 4. And he finally successfully defended a title shot. And it ended with essentially Johnny doing his slingshot DDT onto the outside and then redoing it again on Kushida on the inside and get that 1, 2, 3. So there was no chicanery. There was no tricks. There was no bad booking. I was shocked. And also made me feel like Kushida came out looking good at his first takeover because he's really been doing nothing since he signed with the company in 2019, former New Japan Pro Wrestling Light Heavyweight Championship over there, or what they call it, Junior Heavyweight over there. So damn, it was good. Excellent technical wrestling, good storytelling, a little slow, but flooded my heart a little bit, boys. Flooded my heart a little bit. Men's tag team, Dusty Rhodes Classics, that get you a future title shot. That's the whole thing about winning the champion, or not the championship, but the classics, is that it gets you a future title shot on the tag team spectrum. So you had Grizzly Young Veteran, Zach Gibson, James Drake versus MSK, which is I think their new names are Wesley and Nash Carter. They were also known as the Rascals. I don't remember what the OG names were. I didn't watch a lot of them. I've seen some of their stuff. Very good match. Not really surprised with the winner. MSK won, but they debuted with the company a month ago, so to get hot shotted into being a Rhodes Classic winner and getting a future NXT Tag Team Championship is good. But they put a good performance. Grizzly Young Veterans is the second year they came in as runner-ups in a row. Hopefully they get over the hump, but tag team wrestling is just so good. Why? Because you can tell a multitude of stories. Not one person versus another person. You can tell about the hot tags. You can have the guy playing the underdog. You have one partner fake an injury and the other guy has to step it up. And also you have multiple people going at each other. It's just good when it's good, right? You know, I'm about it. Match that didn't, tickle me inside everything. The women's championship match. Io Shirai went against Toni Storm and Mercedes Martinez. I like all three of them. I think Mercedes Martinez has a look of a champion. Some people don't because she looks like she could beat your ass. That's the one thing people need to remember about wrestling. I need someone who can convincingly make me think they could beat my ass, right? She does. She scares me, and I think it's fantastic. Funny story about her. She got called up to the main roster and was part of that Retribution group that looks like Bane's cast-offs from The Dark Knight Rises, and she asked to be put back down because, like, look, I've been doing this for 20 years. I'm like 40. It matters so much to me about the images as opposed to the next opportunity, and I respect that of her. But what happened, it was fast-paced. There were some spots that didn't work out because one of them was that a table on the outside of the announcer table they were supposed to go through, but I guess it broke when Tony sort of just touched it because some of these things are pre-planted. So it was amusing, but I thought they had good chemistry. But something happened. It just ended abruptly. And I was reading that they were supposed to have 20 minutes of time, but they only went for 13 or 14. But you didn't even know, like you kind of sensed it was coming, but you didn't think it was going to be like the finisher. What happened was Mercedes had Toni Storm in a chokehold, and then out of nowhere, Io Shirai hits the moonsault onto both of them. Tony rolls away and then went on to Mercedes and got the 1, 2, 3. Now, something like that might break up the pin, might add additional 3 minutes or 5 minutes to continue it, but to end it, I don't know. So that's always the kind of risk with triple threats. And what I did like was the pacing because I think triple threats should always be go, 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 go. But abrupt endings can sometimes ruin a match, personally speaking. But match of the night, boys. Why we can't scroll it down yet? Because you know how sometimes you are fattened and full, and then you see that cake that's passing by. You all went to Valentine's Day. You all have some little love in your life. Get yourself a little brownie or a pizookie or whatever it is that people want. Just some ice cream. Some little extra nourishment because you're full, but you know you got to do it. Oh, bros. I was already feeling kind of fat and full, and nap time was coming. But Finn Balor, Pete Dunne, NXT Championship, great storytelling. 2 Brits going at it. Finn, who's been in this game, he's 39. Pete Dunne's like 27 now. Learning this thing, he was longest reigning NXT UK champion without the virus relations for adding on the additional days. They're also good. Storytelling at its finest. Finn was getting his arm worked by Dunne. Dunne was getting his leg worked by Finn. Ends. Finn just basically hits the coup de grace and then the 1916. 1, 2, 3. Loved it. Then what happens? Pete Dunne's lackeys come out. He's got his boys, Danny Burch and Orny Logan come in, and then Undisputed Era came out. So there's been brewing rivalries. I can't give you the full recap, but anybody who's been watching knows how I'm getting excited for it because it involves who was trying to help out Finn? Adam Cole, Bebe, Roddy Strong, and then Kyle O'Reilly. Kyle O'Reilly's been feuding with Finn Balor over that title, but there's kind of that mutual respect. You know how sometimes you just, I mean, since we had the Fortune Naruto, I'm gonna bring this all together. You know how there was like Naruto and Sasuke, and they really like each other, but they were okay at the very end of everything, Shippuden included. That's how it was kind of feeling versus Kyle and Finn also has the NXT Gold, man. That's how it matters. So as everybody's talking, as everybody's like squaring up, it's like, we got your back, whatever. Adam Cole, the Panama Playboy, looks at Finn and super kicks him right in the damn face. And I'm like, what? Like, I was kind of expecting it, but I'm like, oh, what? What's happening? Are we going to do a slow burn? And then all of a sudden, Kyle's like, what the hell, man? And all of a sudden, on Valentine's Day, when it's all supposed to be about love and making babies, what happened was hearts were broken and balls turned blue. Adam Cole super kicked Kyle O'Reilly in the damn face, you guys. Now you can scroll down, Francisco. The Twitter was fantastic. I literally just kept sending it to my buddies. I think I sent it to you guys. I'm like, it takes a great monster.
CBS has this as an A+ match.
Oh my god, it was so good. Like, because sometimes you rank things not just from bell to bell, but the antics that happen after. Because this is the equivalent of Tommaso Ciampa turning on Johnny Gargano after the takeover loss and ladder match against the Authors of Pain. Guys who were two best friends, they were units. And then the betrayal was coming. This was needed because they were getting stale on NXT. They're not going to get really called up anytime soon. They're kind of small guys. Vince doesn't like small guys. So here's the thing, John. Triple H runs NXT. His son-in-law, the former, the Game, the cerebral assassin, the King of Kings. Vince doesn't know what to do with them when they get called up, and it ruins it. It ruins everything. I hate him. I hate him so much. Love H.
My coworker at work, he says the same. He's a big wrestling guy. He says the same thing to me when me and him talk about it.
Well, it's literally that, and I'm just tears in my eyes. But it was such a good thing. It makes me want to watch it tomorrow. I don't want to watch Dynamite tomorrow. I want to watch NXT. I want to see why Adam Cole did this out of all days. That's basically on Christmas morning. I hope we don't have kids who are listening in right now under the age of, I would presume, 10. When your parents are like, Mommy, where's Santa's gifts? And they just go like, it ain't real. It's that heartbreaking. My God, NXT. Whew. Did you enjoy it? Because I certainly did. Bring it up to WWE on the main roster. Oh, God damn it. Elimination Chamber is this Sunday. Yours truly will be watching with my buddy Tony because we're going back to that thing now. That was an OG thing that we used to do as we would just kind of make the drinking rules. And it's a gimmick pay-per-view I talked about last week, but for summer bridgings, 5-6 people in a pod with chains and steels and links and all that stuff, random people in there. Last person wins gets the title. Basically, that's what we're going to. There's a little twist in it. And I mentioned it last week for the Raw side of it, but I will say this. It's not Miz anymore. It's going to be Kofi Kingston. Oh, that Kofi about Kofi Mania that almost made you cry tears of joy? Yes, that Kofi. But that's going to be a storyline plan for Ali to screw him over. That's fine. Lacey Evans is pregnant. That match will not be happening in real life, but of course Vince has to ruin it. Because they took her real pregnancy and they make it seem like it's Rick's baby. So, side note, Ric Flair's still around. Mentioned that thing about veterans coming back in. Lacey Evans was feuding with Charlotte Flair, and then she's like, "Oh, I'm pregnant." I was like, "Oh God, no freaking way! Please don't do this stupid storyline. You had, Lashington Steel basically with Bobby Lashley and Lana and Rusev, and now you're doing this stuff." But she's actually legitimately pregnant, so I guess they have to write it out. But I guess that's how you stop a storyline. Congrats, Lacey. Good for you. I don't know what's happening, but seeing Rick walk and talk and being all happy about being a storyline woman's baby daddy just makes me legitimately think that you're just here for the paycheck. But hey, at however old he is and all the heart conditions he has, I can't blame you. Take that paycheck. Go into SmackDown, because this is really what it is. The problem with SmackDown being on Fridays is I can't get all the proper information about what's going to happen, because Raw happening the same week as we do our show, afterwards I can't link it up properly. But we know what's going on in the Elimination Chamber. You ready for this, guys? So I love it personally. They are defending the WWE Championship for the Raw side. They are defending the Universal Championship, but not in the chamber. The WWE Championship is going to be in the chamber. What they're doing, and I kind of like it for the preferential treatment, but I think if who wins, and I have my suspicion, I got to do the predictions, and then I'll call it a night. Good night, just like Kyle O'Reilly's chin to the floor after Adam Cole kicked him, is they're going to have the Elimination Chamber for the men's for the Universal Championship contender, King Corbin, Kevin Owens, Cesaro, Daniel Bryan, Sami Zayn, and Jey Uso, Roman Reigns' cousin, our tribal chief. And whoever wins that later that night gets the Universal Championship, gets Roman. And why that's so good is because you could literally do a one-off story. Because we all know Edge is going to pick Roman for the WrestleMania match. I'm telling you that right now, Johnny. That's a spoiler that comes in there. Because if I got anything but that, I'm like, I don't care anymore. I'm just going to cancel my subscription. You can have this stupid little Master of the Spear finishers that work so much better than a year ago when Vince wanted Roman versus Goldberg. Like, Goldberg doesn't even do the spear as a finisher. It's a signature. Peasants, learn to read a book. But I'm telling you right now, if we can have Cesaro win the Elimination Chamber, and he cut an impassioned promo, as the pundits put it, and I'll send it to you guys, and he gets to face Roman in that same match, I couldn't wear pants while I watched it. It would just be all natural because it's that tantalizing of the story that you can tell without this. Because there's two kinds of storytelling, as I say. There's storytelling in the ring when you're going at it and you're wrestling, and then there's storytelling leading into the ring. That's what your promos are, your weeks, the heat up matches, as I call it, on the Raws and the SmackDowns. Because Cesaro has that hard time being one of the best wrestlers, if not top 5. I really have. One day I'll do a real list of gifted athletically and physically one of the strongest guys out there. His hard problem is he can't speak the best English, but it's not foreign. It's just the guy's Sweden. I don't know. He's from Switzerland. But he speaks 5 languages, so there's gonna be a little bit of impediment. And some people say he's blind, but y'all just haters. And yes, he's a bald white guy. He's 40, man. You don't get to keep the good sometimes after a certain age. Unfortunately, we have the youth, but one day I might have to go bald. Don't question my abilities as an attorney because I'm bald. Don't question his abilities as being a fantastic wrestler just because he has no hair either. But if you did this, I don't need that for you to continue Fastlane, but you could continue at Fastlane and still give me Edge at Mania. You don't have to do this obligatory Kofi Mania stuff because these pay-per-views after Rumble and before Mania are meant to be throwaways. They're supposed to be memorable because it's hard being a wrestling fan, you guys, when it's February and March. Why do you think they put this gimmick pay-per-view in there to keep me invested? The same way it's kind of hard to be a wrestling fan after SummerSlam in August when you have to wait till Survivor Series because September, October is hard. Really, WWE doesn't need a pay-per-view every month, but it's times like this where we need to give people pushes who never have the opportunity, or at least I can't recall your last time Cesaro had a one-on-one championship match for the main prize. This is the time. You gotta do it because anything else is just flaccid work, and I can't deal with that. And that's all I got for you guys there, except for predictions. Aside from that, I do think Cesaro wins it. I do think he goes against Roman later that night and loses, and maybe it continues over to Fastlane. Bobby Lashley, Keith Lee, Matt Riddle, they call him as Riddle now because of the legal issues, United States Championship. I think Bobby retains, but I think it's because he gets Riddle to tap out or lose or whatever, and then Lee and him can continue to Mania. I don't know what's going on with the women's championship. And then when it comes to WWE championship, I don't care anymore. I don't really care for Drew McIntyre as champion because it's when a guy holds a title for almost a year, loses it once, and then regains it a couple weeks later. I hate that logic. When he holds it for almost a year, but the quality of contenders goes down. What do you know about boxing, guys? The best ones that you go against are the ones that make you believe they can beat them. Muhammad Ali, George Foreman. You don't really want to go to Muhammad Ali and Leon Spinks, rest in peace, by the way, who just knocked out the champ at that point. You always want to build that great fight. Drew went downwards, man. Because, yeah, we had Bobby, but then we had him going against Dolph. It didn't really build into anything, and they brought him to against Roman in the Survivor Series match, didn't matter. But then who did he have just to wrestle in the Rumble? Goldberg? Ugh. And now you're going to give me an Elimination Chamber, and I don't know what his direction is. Maybe it's a Miz cash-in. I'm not even calling the Miz cash-in yet. I'm going to call it after Mania. But I'm expecting Drew to retain, and they'll give us a throwaway feud between him and Sheamus at Fastlane. But it's going to be very hard to convince me that Sheamus and him are going to be suitable for a Mania match because even though they're saying that they're friends for 20 years, it's not the same effect. I'm going to drop some knowledge here because I felt like Johnny was putting me to it was beautiful how knowledgeable you were in hockey because that's how I feel about wrestling. With the knowledge. Sheamus, and I'm going to keep at this, Sheamus and Drew, friends who are now enemies for title, is not the equivalent of Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels when Shawn made the betrayal. For one very standalone reason, in this recent run, they've only been teamed up as bros now, but it's not like they had a legacy of being the Rockers, trying to get titles, going throughout years together, and then when it came, boy, it hit you in the mouth. This is just a okay kind of story that might have been better suited in December leading into January than February going to Mania season. And that's all I got for you this week.
Okay.
That was impressive.
That's
Oh,
the
thank you.
journey. We get that every week, Johnny. Get that every week. Okay. One last thing, guys, before I just our good old buddy Brendan Rourke, Indiana Pacers writer, had a tweet
We love Brendan.
that put out here. Top 3 best sports sounds. Do we agree with him? Number 1, hockey puck ping off the iron. Number 2, college baseball bat hitting a baseball. And number 3, a perfect pro golf swing off the tee.
Pro golf swing is definitely 1 or 2 for me. There's something about that crisp slice I like. But what about the first tennis like serve?
Oh, like those, like that sound.
Yeah, I like that.
That's a good one. I also like the crack of a wooden bat off a baseball, especially when you really hit it. Yeah, when somebody really gets it. Yeah, that one's pretty good. The college baseball swing is pretty good too.
I don't know who's shooting the puck. Are the Panthers shooting the puck? Is it going posting in? Where's it going?
Because if it's your team and you hear that ping, it's bad news. Like, oh, come on, just like 2 inches more and it goes in.
Yeah.
But if it's if you're up, I don't know, maybe 6-4 against the Lightning and it looks like you can't hang on, and you hear that ping, it's like, oh, thank God. Yeah. Yeah, it depends. These are good ones.
I would trade that out for skates on a freshly Zamboni sheet of ice.
I don't know if you've listened to the NHL app or a Panthers game on using the NHL app, because you get to hear all the radio calls for free on there, which is pretty cool. But usually afterwards,
when I'm driving, I'll listen to the radio.
Usually afterwards, after they've done all the post-game stuff and you don't hear anything, they usually have like a looping sound of just the sound of skates. So basically the sound of like a practice. You just hear like it's beautiful in a way. It's beautiful. It's like what was that, ASMR? It's one of those things. It's almost like that. It's like, oh man, you could just go to sleep.
Therapeutic.
Yeah. Just go to sleep to that. But yeah, okay. Well, guys, we are way past our normal 2-hour mark, but we went through an entire league of hockey. My friend has fallen asleep to that before. Yeah, it's soothing. It's very soothing. It's very soothing, BU. She got super confused when she woke up as to why she kept hearing pucks off the post. Yeah, it's very soothing. But Johnny, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
For accompanying me through our journey throughout the entire NHL landscape.
That was a blast.
For those of you listening, please check out his podcast, Cats and Stats, where he, his girlfriend, and one of his buds get to talk about Panthers hockey, Panthers prospects, and I guess the NHL at large. So you can follow him there, Cats and Stats. Or Cats Prospects is your
Cats Prospects is the prospects page, or
at the Psycho Bacon. There you go. We love bacon around here. Don't worry. All right, and I guess we'll see you guys next time for episode number 94. Follow us on everything. Charles has always said that, and yeah, you can find us anywhere. We're literally everywhere. If you can't find us, we will find you. Have a good night. Ciao.
Take care.